Chapter 1177. Yue glanced at the ghost master discreetly. Ever since she arrived, he had rarely spoken. She wondered if he was usually like this. Yes. Chongming is a space-type spirit beast. Because of the contract, my understanding of space has increased a lot. Perhaps that's why I'm able to sense space better. Read 336. Chapter content begins. Deja looked her up and down. This little girl's personality was very similar to his aunt's in the past. If you must go, then follow me. Don't wander off. He was very fond of this fake aunt. That confident look, that gaze, it really seemed like he couldn't bear to reject any of her requests. You'll know later how much of a loss it is for you to not bring me along. Sima Yue said. I'll wait and see. Although Deja liked how confident she was, he didn't take her words to heart. As for those from the Ghost clan, none of them believed her words. They only hoped that she would not drag everyone down. However, they soon discovered that she wasn't exaggerating at all. With her around, they really avoided many spatial rifts and lost a lot of people. Are you a formation master? Deja asked during the break. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. You really are an array master. No wonder you were able to catch up to us unscathed. Why didn't you say anything before? The guard behind Deja asked. In the past 2 days, they found that the child of the Dark Princess had no concept of class, just like her. Even when they spoke to her, she would reply in an amiable manner. Sima Yue shrugged. None of you asked me. What a low-key child. Deja also neglected this matter, and realized that he knew very little about her. He asked, what else do you know other than arrays? I don't know how to refine weapons, but I plan to learn it when I'm out. Sima Yue said. You don't know how to refine weapons? Did that mean that he knew everything else? You're an alchemist? Yes. You're a beast tamer? I know how to tame beasts too. You are a seeker spirit master? I know a little. Then what can't you do? I just said that I don't know how to refine weapons. Sima Yue glanced at that person, thinking that this person had a bad memory. They could really understand their master's feelings. You've already persevered for 3 days. Let's rest for a few days before continuing. Deja said. No need. Many people came in before us. If there are any treasures, we can go and get a share. Sima Yue licked her lips and her eyes lit up. Deja looked at her hooligan temperament at the moment, and thought that his aunt was not like this. Was it because of that man's personality? If that was really the case, then her aunt's taste was too bad to fall in love with such a man. However, what they didn't know was that this hooligan temperament had nothing to do with his parents. He was born with it. But you look very tired now. We can't continue. Deja said. It's okay. I still have friends. Sima Yue said. Chongming, you lead the way. Chongming came out, nodded and led everyone forward. He's your contracted beast? Deja asked. Sima Yue nodded. He's so sensitive to space. He should be a space-type spirit beast, Chongming bird. The Ghost Master said. Sima Yue looked at the Ghost Master discreetly. Ever since she came, he rarely spoke. She didn't know if he was usually like this. Yes. Chongming is a space-type spirit beast. Because of the contract, my understanding of space has increased a lot. Maybe it's because of this that I'm more sensitive to space. There are very few space-type spirit beasts now. The Ghost Master said meaningfully. Sima Yue didn't know why, but she felt that his words were a little strange. However, she didn't know why he said that. After that, Sima Yue and Chongming took turns to lead the way. There were only a few deaths in the end. However, because they couldn't fly, they could only walk. Therefore, their progress was very slow. After walking for a long time, they still hadn't reached the ancient battlefield. The space here wasn't stable. To a large extent, it affected their progress. However, because of the instability, they could travel thousands of miles with each step. Although they walked slowly, they still covered a long distance. After a few months, they finally saw some people. However, when they saw them, those people chose to avoid them. In a place like the ancient battlefield that was filled with death, it was very unwise to fight against the Ghost clan. There are people fighting in front. Should we go and take a look? Chongming asked. Do we know each other? Sima Yue asked. She understood Chongming. If it wasn't someone she knew, he wouldn't have told her. There's someone whose aura is a little like Sima Lufeng, Chongming said. Uncle Lufeng? Then is everyone from the Sima family here? Sima Yue asked. If so, then there was no need for her to go over. She didn't want to interact with them now. These people weren't as gullible as Sima Gaoqi. I don't know. There's only one that I'm familiar with. Chongming said. Yun said that Uncle Lu Yun and the rest came in together. If Uncle Lu Yun and the rest aren't here, then it should only be Uncle Lu Feng. Let's go and take a look. Sima Yue turned around and looked at Deja, saying, You guys? Of course we'll go with you. Deja said. What if there's danger? There were more folds and faults in the space here. If she stayed here, she might be killed by the space. Why not let them go together? Then let's go over and take a look. Sima Yue said. There wasn't anyone in front, but Chongming brought them around a few corners and saw a group of people fighting. As expected, she only knew Sima Lufeng. She didn't know the rest. Seeing Sima Lufeng's cold attitude towards both parties, there shouldn't be anyone from the Sima family. But why was he here alone? And it was obvious that he was being controlled by someone. She didn't know the two parties fighting. Since Sima Lufeng didn't do anything, then she didn't make a move. We found that divine tool first. You guys just came up and snatched it. Where's your morality? Morality? What morality are you talking about here? What's the use of finding it? It's the one who gets it in the end. Let's see who can snatch it first. Boom. Those people were getting closer and closer to where Sima Lufeng was. The energy from the battle was about to reach him. If no one brought him away, then he would be in danger. And those people were busy fighting, so no one noticed this place at all. Seal 1. Sima Lufeng felt the ripples in the space. The energy that was about to reach him went around him. Those who were able to come here were stronger. Once she made a move, both parties felt it. They stopped at the same time and stood at two sides, looking towards them. Sorry, I'm just here to find someone. You guys can continue. Sima Yue said with a smile. Chapter content end. This book is quickly updated. If you like this book, please click here. Remember to buy this book. _D. An underscore equals LL. L top equals NT. Hide. This site's collected works, community topics, book library comments are all personal actions. It doesn't represent this site's position. All literary works are obtained from third-party websites. If there is any infringement, please see the disclaimer at the bottom of the homepage. Chapter 1178. Sima Yue thought that her smile was quite friendly, but the other party did not buy it at all. Seeing the group of ghosts behind her, the other party looked at them warily. A human is actually mingling with the ghost clan. You are the scum of the human race. That's right. Anyone who colludes with the foreign races should be punished. You'd better plead guilty obediently and commit suicide. That way, you'll be able to get a quick death. Yes. Yes. Sima Yue looked at them. The people who were fighting fiercely just a moment ago were now pointing their spears at her. They looked like they had a common enemy. However, only idiots would say such things, right? Just because she was with someone from the Ghost Clan, she had to commit suicide to atone for her sins? Was there something wrong with their brain circuits, or were they mentally unsound? Do you think everyone else is an idiot? However, in the eyes of these people, this request couldn't be more reasonable. As a human, colluding with a foreign race was unacceptable in the entire continent. Those who colluded with the alien race deserved to die. Moreover, they had always been high and mighty, and had long since disregarded the lives of others. In their minds, you colluded with the alien race, so letting you commit suicide is already very merciful. Sima Yue laughed softly. Although this little girl's strength is low, she still cherishes her little life. Therefore, I have no intention of killing myself. Humph, you colluded with the alien race. What right do you have to continue living in this world? What is face? Can it be eaten? Sima Yue asked. Would a person who doesn't even care about his life care about his face? Shameless Junior. How can you have such thoughts? If you don't want to kill yourself, then don't blame us for taking action. As they spoke, those people even wanted to make a move, intending to sentence her on the spot. As soon as these people attacked, she knew their strength. They were all Monarch Realm experts, and there were even people who were half a step into the Monarch Realm. Their strength was not low. I think you guys are thinking too much. My life, other than myself, no one can take it away, Sima Yue said. Even if you claim to be fighting against the mutated tribe, you can't. Arrogant brat. Hand over your life, an old man said as he charged towards Sima Yue. When Sima Luyan saw Sima Yue, he quietly dispersed the spirit energy that he had gathered. Although he was surprised that she was here, at least she saved him. Even though he would be fine even if she didn't save him. When he was captured by these people, he didn't reveal his identity and strength. It wasn't that he couldn't escape, but it would be safer with someone here. Therefore he stayed there quietly. But now he couldn't stay quiet. How dare he lay his hands on her? Wasn't he courting death? Not only him, Deja, who was behind him, also moved at the same time and attacked the old man. With the two of them working together, the old man died in an instant. She had already guessed that Deja would make a move. She thought that the controlled Sima Lufeng would make a move, but she didn't expect this. Uncle Lufeng, so you're not being controlled, Sima Yue said. Sima Lufeng flew over and landed beside her saying, "Why are you here?" "I knew that you all came in, so I followed you in," Sima Yue said. "You're not being controlled at all. You were still like that just now." "It's not that I didn't make a move, but you made a move earlier than me," Sima Lufeng said. "How could I let myself fall into that kind of danger?" "Then you're worried for nothing," Sima Yue said. "Knowing that you're so concerned about my safety, I'm happier than anything else. How could I be worried for nothing?" Sima Lufeng said. Sima Yue couldn't be bothered with his thoughts. "Sima Lufeng, you're not being controlled at all. So you've been acting all along." Sima Lufeng stood in front of Sima Yue and faced those people saying, "When did I say that I'm being controlled? Just based on your poison. How could you poison me? You're too naive. Then why did you pretend to be controlled? Or else why would you bring me along the entire way and not let me do anything?" Sima Lufeng said. If it wasn't because they made a move on Yue, he probably wouldn't have exposed himself. "Good Sima Lufeng, I didn't expect you to be so good at acting. You flatter me," Sima Lufeng said. Seeing those people's ugly expressions, he said, "Don't be like this. You're holding me hostage, wanting me to bring you to find treasures. I'm so cooperative. Why do you look like you're hurt?" "You did it on purpose," an old man shouted. "You brought us here on purpose so that we'll fight over the divine weapon? Did you forget to bring your brain when you went out?" Sima Luyan said. "I didn't know that there was a divine weapon here, and didn't know that your enemies were here. Why would I bring you here? If you're stupid, don't talk. That will expose the fact that you have no intelligence." Pfft. Sima Yue couldn't help but laugh at the back. This Uncle Luyan's face was solemn and serious, but his character was very different from Uncle Lufeng, who was the same age as him. That person was stunned by Sima Luyan's sarcasm. He was furious. When had he, who was highly respected, been mocked like this before? "Why are you glaring at me for?" Sima Lufeng said. "Am I wrong? Friend, let's not fight anymore today. Let's take care of these other clans first." The person who was scolded by Sima Lufeng said to the people opposite. The other party was silent for a while before saying, "Okay." This was the boundary between allies and enemies. There was no boundary. 1 second it was an enemy, the next second it could be an ally. Deja didn't feel anything towards these people. He didn't have the patience to watch them talk. With a wave of his hand, the ghost clansmen behind him started to attack. Humans were troublesome. When they saw something they didn't like, they still chattered for so long. Couldn't they just attack directly? Sima Yue watched as those people started to attack. She realized that they were all very strong. At least they were stronger than the guards in Yu Capital. To be able to be stronger than the royal guards meant that his power was not to be underestimated. Sima Lufeng saw that those people started to attack, but he didn't have the intention to help. He pulled Sima Yue's hand and said, You look really good in female clothes. It's a pity that you don't look like your father. Deja saw his little sister being held by a stranger. Although he said that it was some ghost uncle, he couldn't do it. He took a step forward and pulled Sima Yue back, letting her leave his evil clutches. Who are you? Sima Lufeng looked at Deja with a black face. He actually dared to pull his little niece away. What the hell? And who are you? Deja stared back coldly. He didn't have a good impression of this ghost uncle. Chapter 1179. Read 336. Humans and ghosts, darkness and light, were naturally at odds with each other. Sima Yue noticed the tension between the two of them and said, "Let me introduce you. Uncle Lufeng, this is my cousin Deja. Cousin, this is my uncle Sima Luyin." Maternal family. Sima Lufeng glanced at him and said. Deja glanced back, but didn't mention her husband's family. Because in his opinion, the other party didn't have the qualifications to be his aunt's in-laws. Sima Yue stood between the two of them, blocking their line of sight. Uncle Lufeng, why are you here alone? Where are the rest of you? Sima Luyin sighed and said. I don't know where they are either. I was swept here by the spatial turbulence. I didn't expect to bump into them. They wanted to catch me, so I let them catch me. Do you look like someone who can be caught so easily? Sima Yue glared at him. Of course not. But if I'm here alone, I'll have to do everything myself. But if I follow them, all I need to do is point the way, and then I don't need to do anything. How to avoid the spatial traps and how many people die has nothing to do with me. To put it bluntly, you're just lazy. Sima Yue said. There are some things that you should keep to yourself. Don't say them out loud. Otherwise it would be meaningless. Sima Luyin said. Why do they want to capture you? Sima Yue was curious. Normally, when encountering such a situation, they would kill the other party. Otherwise they wouldn't have captured him. You don't know? Sima Lufeng looked at her strangely. Know what? Sima Yue asked. Why were they all saying the same thing? She really didn't know anything. Looks like you really don't know. Sima Lufeng saw her reaction and said. Sima Yue was speechless. It was all the same. Was she really that ignorant and inexperienced? But the truth was she really was like that. If I don't know, then why are you still keeping me in suspense? Then do you know where this place is? Sima Lufeng asked. If she didn't even know where she was, then he wouldn't bother to explain it to her. Of course I know. But what does this have to do with them capturing you? You know that this is an ancient battlefield. Then, do you know that the Sima family had an ancestor who entered this place and left successfully? Sima Lufeng said. He saw Sima Yue twitch her mouth and said. Oh, you don't know. But everyone knew. I don't know how this news got out. Sima Yue was speechless. She did not know much about the Sima family. How would she know about their ancestors? The more people spread the news, the more mysterious it became. It was as if everyone in our family knew about this. They also said that our clan's divine weapons were taken from the ancient battlefield. Then they want us to lead the way for them. Well, these people want me to lead the way for them. So do you know or not? Sima Yue asked. If he knew, then she wouldn't need to take the long route, and could go there directly. How would we know? Sima Lufeng said. If we knew, why would I not be able to return after being sent out? What do you mean by not being able to return after being sent out? Sima Yue asked. We've already reached the ancient battlefield. But the space there is not only unstable, there are many traps. There's also the spatial flow. I was sent here by the spatial flow, Sima Lufeng said. Then you're lucky, Sima Yue said. Spatial flow is such a rare situation. What's a spatial flow? Deja asked. It's like a tsunami or a tornado. It's just that it's formed because of the movement of space. Sima Yue explained. This thing is better than a spatial fault. It won't make you fall into the void and die. But the bad thing is, it can make you go anywhere. Like Uncle Lufeng, it's already considered short to not be sent to the entrance. And there's no pattern to the movement of spatial flow. If you're not familiar with the surroundings, you really won't know where you were sent to. You also won't know where you were before. So you also don't know where the ancient battlefield is. Sima Yue sighed. Who says I don't know? Sima Lufeng said. You have to know I have many ways too. It's just that I'm too lazy to do it. Then what ways do you have? Sima Yue asked. Our Sima family isn't a small power. We have our own ways to deal with these. Sima Lufeng said. I originally said that those old guys are here, so I'm not in a hurry to go back. If you want to go, then I can bring you there. This is the real reason why you pretended to be controlled by them. Sima Yue said. You just don't want to go back. That's why you've been staying here. Those old guys, let's not talk about how I don't like them. Even Lu Yin needs a lot of self-control to stay calm when he sees them. I can't compare to him, so I can only wait here. Sima Lufeng said. Why? Because they abandoned your father. Sima Lufeng said. They abandoned your father for the sake of the family's benefits. That's indeed unbearable. Sima Yue said. And you don't have Uncle Lu Yin's temperament. I'm your elder. You can't talk like that. Sima Lufeng said. I'm just speaking the truth. Sima Yue shrugged. If you don't want to go back, then you can tell me how to go. You don't have to go. Of course not. Sima Lufeng said. You and Lu Yin don't have any connection. Even if you know the way, you won't be able to find them. So you have to go? Of course. Then you lead the way. Sima Yue said without holding back. Invite me. Sima Lufeng wanted to tease her. Sima Yue glanced at him indifferently and smiled faintly. If I'm injured, I'll definitely tell Uncle Lu Yin everything when I see him. You win. Sima Lufeng looked at the smile on her face and complained. Your father is considered to be open and above board. How did he give birth to such a cunning daughter? Genetic mutation. Do you understand? Genetic mutation? What's that? So you don't understand. Genetic mutation. You wouldn't understand even if I told you. So I don't think I should tell you. Sima Yue said with a smile. What a vengeful fellow. Deja looked at Sima Lufeng and felt better. Looks like he wasn't the only one who couldn't handle her. The people on their side were the same. But he was curious. What was genetic mutation? Chapter 1180. Read 336. The strength of the Ghost Clan's people was not bad. While they were talking, they finished off those people. Not only did they hide far away, they even dared to say that they wanted to kill them. Fighting with Ghost Clansmen in the ancient battlefield was simply courting death. Master, everything has been cleaned up. The guard came back to report. Yes, Deja nodded slightly and looked at Sima Yue. Should we continue our journey? All right. Deja let the guards rest for a while, and then continued on their way. But this time, not only was Chongming leading the way, there was also Sima Lufeng leading the way. After walking for more than half a month, they finally walked out of the place where the fault lines were concentrated, and arrived at a place where the space was relatively stable. If the previous area was said to be uninhabited, with only plants and no living animals, then this area could only be described as barren. The land was charred and cracked. After millions of years, not a single living thing had grown here. They flew in the air, and everything in front of them was the same. The black earth looked like a boundless ocean, swallowing the hope of life. Sima Yue returned to the ground. Although the space here was much more stable than before, she could not say for sure if a spatial flow would suddenly appear and take her away. It wasn't easy for him to get here. When the time came, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. How is it? Deja and the others did not dare to go up casually. They did not have spatial perception like her, so they could only wait on the ground. It's the same in front. We should have reached the ancient battlefield. Sima Yue said. What kind of battle would cause such an area to appear? No one knows, and no ancient book has ever mentioned it. If it wasn't for someone who accidentally entered this place and spread the news, nobody would know about this. Sima Lufeng said. As the family that brought the news out, the Sima family had been under a lot of pressure for tens of thousands of years. Fortunately, there were no signs of the immortal land opening during those years, so the Sima family could live through these years peacefully. Otherwise, they might have already disappeared in the long river of history. Their generation didn't know how the news was leaked out, But in their opinion, it didn't bring them much benefits. Especially when everyone knew that this wonderland was the one that opened tens of thousands of years ago. The Sima family didn't have any peace. The ancestor who released the news only wanted to spread the news and let everyone know about it to divert the attention of the entire continent. However, he didn't expect that as time passed, the news would spread more and more. Although it diverted some attention, it also put the family in an even more awkward position. Others asked the Sima family to provide more information, but they didn't know much. Even the outside world knew more than they did. Although the Sima family didn't encounter anything when they came in, they knew that many people had been following them in order to find this ancient battlefield. Actually, he wasn't very interested in this place. After so many years, how many treasures could there be? Could it be that the things of the ancients were really better than the things of today? After so many years, he didn't know if those things could still be used. Why did they have to come to such a dangerous place? However, his idea was useless. Sima Lu Yun's idea didn't stop the family members either. That group of stubborn old people insisted on coming, so they couldn't do anything about it. Moreover, because of Sima Lu Xian's matter, they couldn't be too high profile in the family. So even if they had ideas, they didn't say it out loud. They could only follow them in. You guys don't know either? Sima Yue asked Deja. Deja shook his head. There really wasn't any record of this. For a battle to form such a large folded space, it means that the battle was absolutely devastating. It's impossible that there isn't any record of it at all. Sima Yue said. Could it be that this ancient battlefield wasn't formed in the ancient primordial lands, but formed in other places? Formed in other places? You mean outer realms? Sima Lu Feng asked. I think this possibility is higher, Sima Yue said. How do you know that there are outer realms? Sima Lu Feng asked. People in the inner regions knew more about outer realms. For someone of Sima Yue's age and life experience, she shouldn't know about it. Qingyi told me, Sima Yue said. Qingyi? Tree of Life. I comprehended the realm under him. Sima Yue said. A few days ago, when she was chatting with Sima Lu Feng, she mentioned that Sima Yiyun and the rest were captured. He casually asked about the realm. She didn't hide it from him. Or rather, she had the intention to tell him about it. She wanted him to know about her improvement. Perhaps only then would they tell him about her father. However, other than letting him sigh at her talent and be happy, it didn't have any use. During this period of time, every time she asked about her father, he would either directly say that it was better that she didn't know about it, or change the topic. In short, he was excited about her talent while refusing to give her any useful information. She was so angry that her teeth itched. But she couldn't pry open his head to take a look. She could only stare at him from the side. As for this Sima Lu Feng, when he was young, he was definitely a thick-skinned person. Now that he was older, he had cultivated his skin these few years, so his skin was even thicker now. No matter how she glared at him, he would just ignore her. But Sima Yue wasn't the kind of person who would give up. The two of them were in a deadlock these few days. One asked, the other avoided. The two of them were having a lot of fun. How does that Qingyi know about outer realms? Isn't he a tree? Yet, a tree that has turned into a spirit. Sima Yue said. He told me that we weren't the only ones who came in here. There were others who came in from other places. Since this place can connect us, it can also connect to other places. This place might not be formed by our continent. It's possible, Deja said. If it really was an earth-shattering battle, there would be some traces left behind. There would be traces left behind from the immemorial and ancient battles. It wouldn't be like this where there's no news at all. Sima Lu Feng nodded, agreeing with their point of view. Something's coming, Ghost Master suddenly said. Could it be the spatial flow again? Sima Lu Feng's expression changed. Previously, he was swept away by the spatial flow when he just arrived at the ancient battlefield. Could it be that he was swept away when he just arrived? He couldn't be that miserable, right? Chapter 1181. Read 336. The expressions of the others also changed. After walking for so long, did they have to start from the beginning again? It's not spatial turbulence. It's something alive that's flying towards us, the Ghost Master said. Hearing this news, everyone first heaved a sigh of relief, but then their hearts were in their mouths again. They had been walking in the folded space for almost a year, but they had never encountered it. Why did they encounter it here? Furthermore, they were still unsure of the strength of the life forms that could survive here. It would be fine if they were weak, but if they were weak and there were many of them, it would be troublesome. Not long after, everyone heard the commotion. A buzzing sound came from afar, and it was approaching at a very fast speed. Bloodbats, the Ghost Master said to Deja. They're not easy to deal with. Ghost bats were more difficult to deal with among the underworld beasts. They were strong and lived in groups. Every time they moved, there would be a large number of them. Therefore, even in the ghost realm, no one wanted to encounter ghost bats. Everyone get ready. The captain of Deja's bodyguards said to the people behind him. Ghost bats were no strangers to the ghost clan, so they did not panic. Instead, they prepared themselves and waited for the ghost bats to arrive, so that they could take the initiative to attack. Sima Yue looked at the guards and asked, "Are these ghost bats hard to deal with?" "Yes, these blood bats don't look big, but they're fast and their attack power is strong. Moreover, their mental attacks are super powerful. If they attack together, their strength will be doubled. If 100 low-level divine ghost bats unleashed a sonic attack at the same time, their strength would be comparable to a mid-level divine ghost bat. If there were 1,000 of them, their strength would be comparable to a high-level divine ghost bat. This kind of power was not found in other social animals. When they moved out, there were at least 1,000 of them, and at most 10,000 of them. Therefore, the people of the ghost clan did not want to encounter them. Sima Yue listened to Deja's explanation, and thought that they were really lucky to encounter such a tricky underworld beast as soon as they arrived here. "You don't have to worry too much. My guards aren't weak. Even if Ghost Bat comes, there won't be too much trouble." Deja comforted her. The guard captain behind him twitched his mouth. He never thought that one day his master would take the initiative to comfort someone else. If not for the fact that this person was his cousin, Princess Yukoluo's daughter, they would have thought that he was in love. Sima Yue nodded and said, "I'm not that worried. If you can't do it, I still have the underworld artifact you gave me. They shouldn't be of any use to the things inside, right?" "No," Deja said, "those are all spirits. The ghost bat's sonic attack is only effective against spirits with physical bodies." "That's good." Sima Yue was no longer worried about her strength. If these guards couldn't do it, then she could use the ghosts in the 100 Ghost banner to attack. However, before the blood bats could get close, the Ghost Master sensed that something was amiss and said, "Master, something's wrong." "What happened?" Deja looked at the Ghost Master, and his voice changed. This kind of situation rarely happened in the past. Those blood bats are different from the ones in the world of spirits and souls. They should be mutated blood bats, the Ghost Master said. Mutated blood bats. Deja's expression changed and said, "Why are there mutated blood bats here? We can't stay here. Retreat." He was quite confident just a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, he changed. Sima Yue didn't understand why they were so afraid of the mutated blood bats at first, but she understood later on. Deja said that the average blood bat was only the size of a wash basin. However, when she saw the ones chasing after them, she thought, "Damn, how are they wash basins? They're almost the size of a water tank." If it was just a change in size, the Ghost Master wouldn't have changed his expression at the mention of it. If they could escape without saying anything, then their strength must have been multiplied. Otherwise, how embarrassing would it be if they escaped with their lives? They wanted to escape, but the fault zone was right behind them, and they couldn't escape fast enough. The blood bats were very familiar with this place, and they easily avoided the fault zone while flying and quickly caught up with them. Now, they could only hope that there weren't too many of them. If there were only 100 of them, then they could barely deal with them. Oh my God! The blood bats were getting closer and closer. How could there only be 100 of them? There were tens of thousands of them. Why are there so many blood bats? This time, even the Ghost Master couldn't keep his calm. They were going to wipe them out until not even a speck of dust remained. When Sima Yue saw the Ghost Master's reaction, she knew that this was going to be a battle without any suspense. They only had a few hundred guards now, and they didn't have the strength to fight back at all. Even if the number of guards was a few times greater, they would still be defeated by this black mass of mutated bloodbats. They're too fast, we can't escape at all. Even the captain of Dija's guards felt a little hopeless. Sima Yue initially wanted to use the spirits in the 100 Ghost banner to deal with the bloodbats, but now, even if she took it out, the spirits would be able to resist for a while, but it wouldn't be of much use. You're an array master, don't worry about us later. Use your array to leave, Dija said. Yes, we'll buy you some time, but we don't know how long, so you have to hurry. Sima Lufeng stood together with Dija for the first time in order to protect her behind him. They all knew that she was an array master, and it wouldn't be a problem if she wanted to leave alone. But if she brought more people with her, then it might not be so. One had to know that a large array needed time to set up. Sima Yue didn't expect that these two guys, who didn't like each other along the way, would stand together in front of her. In a hopeless situation, they were going to open up a way for her to survive. And this was only because she was a family member that they cared about. Sima Lufeng and Dija didn't expect that they would fight side by side one day. They looked at each other, and the prejudice in their eyes lessened. Previously, Sima Lufeng blamed Dija's little aunt for dragging his brother down while the other blamed the other's brother for dragging his little aunt down. If it weren't for the fact that Sima Yue was with them, the two of them would have already fought. But now, the two of them stood together, and based on the other party's feelings for Yue, they accepted each other. Of course, this was only accepting the other party as a person. It didn't mean that they accepted the other party's family. It seems that after dying here, we can't go to the ghost realm. Sima Lufeng said. Yeah, we can only stay here forever. Dija said lightly, without any fear of death, only endless regret. He couldn't save his aunt personally. If it wasn't for him, when would this cousin of his be able to save his aunt? After she went to the ghost realm, who could help her? Chapter 1182. Dija read the same emotion in Sima Lufeng's eyes. Regret, but he didn't know what his regret was. Sima Lufeng was indeed regretful. He hadn't found Sima Luxian with Sima Luyun. He also hadn't brought Yu back to blind those old fellows. There were still many things that he hadn't done. It was fine if he didn't do it, but when he thought about how Sima Luyun had to do all these things alone, and he couldn't see that old fellow's dazed look, his heart felt stifled. He immediately reacted. Just now, he had said that he would blind those people's dog eyes. Wouldn't that make him a dog too? His contract beast knew what he was thinking and couldn't help but roll its eyes. Master, you go with Mississippi. We'll buy you some time. The guard captain said. Have you forgotten what I said when I formed you? Dija asked. I said that I will be with you, and I won't let you cover for me. Dija was not a good person. If it was someone else, he would have killed them without a second thought. In the ghost realm, it was because of his bloodthirst that his reputation was not good. However, he still valued the people who had accompanied him to this point. He would definitely do what he had promised back then. Seeing this, the guards were touched. Although Dija's reputation wasn't good, this was the reason why they were willing to follow him. Master, you'd better leave quickly. Sima Yue rolled her eyes and said, You're already at this stage, and you're still talking about it. Aren't you wasting time? Yue, hurry up and leave. What are you still doing here? Sima Lufeng saw that Sima Yue didn't take out a temporary array. Instead, she took out a small door and urged her. If the bloodbats are too powerful and you leave too late, they will attack the void. You should hurry up and leave. Dija added. Sima Yue blinked and looked behind them. The bloodbats are here. As the bloodbat got closer, they could already see the ugly face of the bloodbat. Leave now. Dija pushed Sima Yue back and took out his weapon. He turned around and was about to fight with his guards. A ray of light lit up and enveloped everyone. Their attacks dissipated before they could even attack. By the time they regained their senses, they were already in a different place. Just as the sound waves from the bloodbats were about to reach them, they disappeared. If it were in the past, they might have stayed behind to take a look. However, this time they continued flying away without looking back. He didn't look like he was looking for a target to attack, but more like he was running for his life. When the people in the little world saw the completely different environment, they realized that they were saved. Where is this? Sima Yue came out. This is my little realm. Let's stay here for a while. Those bloodbats will probably leave if they don't see us. You actually have such a place? Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me worry for nothing. I thought that I was doomed, Sima Lufeng said. Didn't you guys tell me to leave right from the start? Sima Yue said. I was considering if I should listen to you guys. You all know that I'm very obedient. They didn't see how she was obedient at all. They only saw her deceitful look. She just wanted to see them worried. I didn't want to see you guys worried. Sima Yue defended herself. It takes courage to expose this in front of you guys. What if one of you has designs on it? Wouldn't I have saved an ingrate? She was as straightforward as ever. Deja and Sima Lufeng knew that she was joking. However, she should have been worried about this before. Don't worry. My men won't tell anyone about this. Deja said. It's not like we haven't seen the little realm before. Although yours is a little special, it's not to the point where we would want to snatch it. Sima Lufeng said. Deja nodded. If it was someone else's, he might have designs on it. However, it was hers. He was even willing to give her the 100 Ghosts banner. Why would he snatch her things? I guess that you guys wouldn't either. That's why I decided to bring you guys in. Sima Yue said. You guys wait here. I'll leave for a while. I'll bring you guys out after I've confirmed that it's safe outside. Okay. Go ahead. Can we look around? Sima Lufeng asked. I've set up enchantments in places that you can't go. Sima Yue left after she finished speaking. She wanted to check on Little 11. Half a day later, she came out of the little realm alone. If the bloodbats were still around, she could go into the spirit pagoda immediately. However, when she came out, the bloodbats were long gone. She brought everyone out and made sure that the bloodbats were gone. Then everyone finally let out a sigh of relief. The smell of the bloodbats still lingered in the air. It was a clear indication of how bad the situation was. Just now, those bloodbats seemed to be in a hurry. They didn't seem to be chasing after us. We just happened to bump into them, Sima Yue said. We were too flustered just now. Now that I think about it, it's indeed abnormal. Deja recalled the situation just now. He felt that something was amiss. If they were chasing after them, they wouldn't have stayed so close to attack. Moreover, when they saw them, they would have already dispersed and surrounded them. However, even if they were just passing by and saw us, they still chose to attack. Sima Lufeng said. No matter what their motive was, the result was the same. If it wasn't for Yue, we probably wouldn't have been able to escape today. That's right. Cousin, it's all thanks to you this time, Deja said. That's not what I'm talking about, Sima Yue said. Then what is it? If what we guessed was true and those bloodbats weren't chasing after us, then why did they fly in such a large number? Either there was something in front that attracted them, or there was something chasing after them from behind, forcing them to run. Sima Lufeng understood what he meant. That's what I thought too, Sima Yue said. If it's the first case, then where did they go? Will they come back? If it's the second case, then it's even worse. Why not? One of the guards who was rather familiar with Sima Yue asked. Stupid. The captain of the guards happened to be beside him. He slapped that person's head and said, if it's the second case, tell me, what kind of existence would be able to make those bloodbats escape? Think again, which direction did they come from? That guard gasped. Those bloodbats came from the ancient battlefield. If that was the case, didn't that mean that there was something powerful inside? Chapter 1183. Crazy Wife. Divine Dr. Fifth Missy. Once the guard understood, the others naturally understood as well. Everyone looked at the road in front of them and felt apprehensive. That person. Does your family have any information about this? Deja asked. I'm not that person, I have a name. Sima Lu Feng said, according to seniority, you have to call me uncle. What? He had to call him uncle? Deja was enraged by him calling him uncle. The pressure on his body instantly dropped, causing the guards behind him to shrink their necks. Master and this human were natural enemies. They were already adults, but they still turned the world upside down because of such trivial matters. Of course, turning the world upside down was an exaggeration, but they had never seen Master like this before. You want to be my uncle just based on you? You're looking for death. Deja's face was cold as he condensed his ghost energy and attacked him. And Sima Lufeng wasn't some weakling. He was able to fight with the experts of the heroic sword sect outside the mountain gate hundreds of years ago. So he wasn't afraid to fight with him now. Seeing that the opponent made a move, he also condensed his spirit energy and went forward. Sima Yue didn't stop him and said, if you want to fight, go further away. Anyway, there aren't any spatial traps nearby. Deja and Sima Lufeng's battle had been suppressed for a long time. Now that it was finally released, the power was needless to say. It flattened the nearby mountains. They were quite obedient. They went further and further away to ensure that the aftermath of their battle wouldn't affect everyone. Missy, why don't you persuade them? Aren't you afraid that they'll get hurt? A guard asked. One was her cousin, the other was her uncle. Wasn't she worried at all that one of them would get hurt? Persuade what? Sima Yue looked at the two fighting in the distance. They don't like each other. They've been wanting to beat each other up the whole way. If they don't fight, the anger in their hearts will accumulate, and by then it'll be troublesome. Why don't we let them fight for a while? Maybe it'll be fine after they're done. What if they get hurt? Someone asked. What's there to be afraid of? Isn't it just an injury? Sima Yue said disapprovingly. Who doesn't get injured in a fight? As long as he doesn't die, it's fine. Miss, you're really open-minded. That's right. They're all from the same family. When they meet their in-laws, it's normal for them to quarrel a little. One of them is my father's brother, and the other is my mother's nephew. They can be considered as my in-laws and maternal family. It's fine to hit him. As long as they are still breathing, I can save them. What a confident woman. He was really magnanimous. He wasn't worried about them getting hurt, and even said that it would be fine as long as they were kept alive. If the two people who were fighting knew about this, wouldn't this encourage them to fight to the death? What if one of them made a mistake and died? However, Sima Yue was not worried at all. Although the two of them looked very angry, there was no real killing intent in their eyes. They wouldn't really kill each other. She didn't know how long they were going to fight, so she simply took out a chair and sat down to watch, commenting on the battle from time to time. The Ghost Master came to her side and said, "You've thought it through. I have a good temperament." Sima Yue praised herself. Although you two have a lot of similarities, she won't be as narcissistic as you. The student surpasses the master. I can't be the same as my mother. How can I not change at all? Sima Yue said. The Dark Princess would never say such a thing. This was indeed the case of the student surpassing the master. Seeing you like this, you should know more about my mother? Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him probing. We've had some contact, the Ghost Master said. You almost got me killed. Sima Yue suddenly changed the topic and said. At that time, I didn't know that you were her daughter. The Ghost Master said. If I knew, I wouldn't have done it. It's always better to say than to sing. But there aren't so many ifs in this world. There are so many if-only-s. Sima Yue snorted at his words. In this world it was hard to buy a if-only with money, but the harm that he had done to her was real. So, the Ghost Master looked at her and asked. So don't fall into my hands in the future. Sima Yue said. I've forgiven you this time for my cousin's sake, but it doesn't mean that you can rest easy. If I find out that you've done something wrong to me, I'll settle old and new scores with you. The Ghost Master narrowed his eyes, but he hid behind the cloak, so Sima Yue didn't see it. What did you say? I didn't say anything. I'm just saying that since my cousin calls you master, you have to be worthy of this title, right? Isn't that so? Sima Yue said. Besides, you wouldn't do anything to hurt cousin, right? The Ghost Master was silent and didn't answer her. Instead, He looked at her from head to toe. She knew something, or she didn't know something. She was warning him not to do anything that would hurt his master. Would he do that? He didn't know. Yes or no? After Sima Yue said that, she didn't look at him anymore. She didn't know if he was really good to Dija or if he really recognized him as his master. But from the things that Dija told her, she felt that this ghost master was a little strange. He seemed to be good to him, but it also seemed like he wasn't really good to him. She didn't know much about the relationship between the two, but she could warn him and remind Dija to be more careful. The conversation between the two suddenly stopped, but no one felt that it was abrupt. Instead, they were both thinking about something and watching the two fight in a daze. In the distance, Dija and Sima Lufeng fought more and more fiercely. From the beginning, they wanted to teach each other a lesson, but later on, they were fighting to their heart's content. It seemed like they wouldn't stop until they used up all their spiritual energy. The two of them didn't call out their contracted beasts, and didn't eat any pills to replenish their spiritual energy. They chose to fight on their own. The two of them fought for almost a day. Everyone thought that they would stop after they used up all their spiritual energy, but the two of them started fighting again, and chose to continue fighting with their bodies. The two of them were from big clans and had high expectations of themselves, so they would usually pay attention to their physical training. The two of them didn't expect that the first time they fought with their bodies would be under such circumstances. Dija punched Sima Lufeng's face and shouted, "It's all your Sima family's fault. If it wasn't for you, this wouldn't have happened to little Aunt." Sima Lufeng punched Dija's stomach and retorted, "It's all you Kaluo's fault. If it wasn't for her, Lu Xian wouldn't be missing. This punch is for him." Chapter 1184. Dija was hit in the stomach and the pain came, but he didn't care at all. He grabbed Sima Lufeng's arm and punched him back. "If it weren't for Sima Lu Xian, my aunt would still be the princess of the ghost realm, living a happy and worry-free life. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's clearly you Kaluo's fault. If she didn't come to the human world, if she didn't seduce Lu Xian, how could there be such a thing? Bah, it's obviously Sima Lu Xian's fault. It's all you Kaluo's fault. Say it again. You're the one who doesn't want to admit it. Then let's see if we can survive until the end." As the two argued, they fought with their fists like the most ordinary people. Their usual appearance and image were nowhere to be seen. It was as if two children were fighting. Sima Yue was speechless as she looked at them. They were really two kids who had survived. "Ghost Master, the master is injured, should we?" The guard captain asked the Ghost Master. The Ghost Master waved his hand, signaling them not to move. Dija chose to use this method, which meant that he did not care about the injuries on his body. "Don't worry, I won't die," Sima Yue said. "As your master's guards, don't move unless he asks you to. Master has never been beaten like this before," the leader of the guard said. "He used to be beaten up too," Sima Yue said. "That was when Master was young. Even if he was young, it still counts," Sima Yue said. "Di Lu, when you started following my cousin, he was already 100 or 200 years old." The bodyguard Captain Di Lu nodded and said, "Yes. He has been with Master for several hundred years." "Have you never seen him like this since you met him?" Sima Yue asked. "It's not that I haven't seen Master fighting with others before. Master has also been injured before, but I've never seen him like this," Di Lu said. "Then you're lucky today. Look at how your master looks like when he's shirtless. Maybe you won't see it again," Sima Yue said. "This is your only chance, you have to cherish it." Di Lu thought that Sima Yue was going to say something, but he didn't expect it to be this. But it might really be their only chance, so they had better watch. Dija and Sima Lufeng fought bare-chested for over an hour. Finally, they lost all their strength and fell onto the ground. Sima Yue, Di Lu and the others walked over, and saw the two of them grimacing in pain. They were still glaring at each other, as if they were waiting for them to recover their strength before continuing the battle. Fortunately, he still knows his limits and didn't lose his last breath. She gave them a check: 10 broken ribs, 10 broken bones, torn muscles, internal organs bleeding, TSK, your bodies are not bad, you can still fight like this. Sima Lufeng heard Sima Yoyue's words and wanted to say something, but the pain made him grimace and suck in a breath of cold air. Hiss, don't move, Sima Yue said. Just lie here obediently for 3 days like this. 3 days. So long, Sima Lufeng shouted. What else do you think? Sima Yue said. Although there are pills, you still need time to recover. It's not like you don't know what it's like to be injured. And they didn't have her physique. 3 days was just the standard for them to be able to move. Sima Yue took out pills for them to eat and said, after thinking for so long, you finally fought. Your mouth is full, right? Have you vented enough? Both of them glared at each other and turned to look at the sky at the same time. Sima Yue smirked and ordered Di Lu, set up a tent for your master. They will be sleeping here for 3 days. Oh, help me set up one for my uncle too, forget it. Set up a big one and put both of them together. Oh right, they can't move now. Don't touch them after setting up the tent. Just let them lie on the ground. Yes, young Mississippi. Di Lu waved to the people behind him, and a few people came over immediately and set up 2 tents for them. Dija and Sima Lufeng's eyes widened when they heard that they had to lie on the ground for 3 days, looking at Sima Yue who was gloating at their misfortune. Don't stare at me, you guys want to fight like this. I'm not the one who caused it. Sima Yue said. You guys delayed our journey for 3 days because of this. We haven't told you guys off yet. You can obviously think of a way to let us recover earlier, but you want us to lie on the ground for 3 days. Don't you feel sorry for Uncle? Sima Lufeng complained. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. Did he think that he had the body of a divine demon? Letting you guys not move is for your own good. Sima Yue said. Who asked you to break all your bones? If you want your bones to recover properly, just lie down obediently. Young miss, it's done. You guys go out, get someone to guard them outside just in case. Sima Yue said. Okay. Di Lu glanced at his master who was on the ground and hurried out. He wouldn't tell his master that the reason why he ran so fast was because he couldn't help but laugh when he saw his handsome face being beaten beyond recognition. Dija saw how his subordinates listened to Sima Yue and didn't know how to describe his feelings. This girl's temperament made people listen to her subconsciously, just like little Aunt in the past. Sima Yue took out a chair and sat beside the 2 of them, saying, Uncle Lufeng, will it be boring to recuperate for 3 days? Why don't you tell me about what happened to my father and mother? Dija turned around and looked at Sima Lufeng. He also wanted to know what happened to little Aunt in the human realm. Sima Lufeng saw Sima Yue's stubborn eyes and sighed, saying, Why are you so stubborn? This stubbornness is just like your father. I'm father and mother's child, of course it's the same. Sima Yue said. Uncle Lufeng, don't joke around with me, you know, I'll find out about what happened back then sooner or later. I'm no longer the me from back then. No matter what I know, it won't affect my Dao heart. She had successfully comprehended Dao. As long as she didn't encounter something that made her completely collapse, her Dao would not scatter or break. You sigh? Sima Lufeng sighed again. You're right, you'll find out about what happened back then sooner or later. Instead of letting you keep searching for the answer, why don't I tell you now? It'll save you from pestering me all day. How good would it be if you did this earlier? Sima Yue said. Actually, I don't know much about what happened to your father and mother back then, because they were outside. Some of it we heard from your father. Sima Lufeng said. According to what he said, back then, he went out to travel. Chapter 1185. Sima Yue listened to Sima Lufeng talk about what happened to her parents back then. Her heart rose and fell with them. She was happy and sad with them. That year, your father and your master, Feng Zhixing, went out together. At that time, they said that they were going to Western Liang. You know, there is an area connected to the devil race. Although it is not as famous as the Bloody Passage, and there are not so many people stationed there for a long time. Once the devil race comes out, their strength is very high. Sima Yue nodded her head. She indeed knew that place, because the people of Shiman clan had gone there before, and they happened to encounter the people of Demon clan. Not to mention the guardian of that place. They also killed all the people of Shiman clan. Therefore, everyone in the Shiman clan knew about that place. Back then, your father and your master went there, and they were attacked by the demons. Your mother happened to be there as well, and she saved them by chance. That's how they got to know each other. Sima Lufeng continued. Later on they met with the Devil clan's counterattack, and the three of them only managed to escape after much difficulty. Perhaps after going through several life and death situations, the relationship between the three of them was formed. Yu Kuluo and Sima Luxian were in love, while Feng Zhixing was in love with Yu Kuluo. Later on, they traveled the continent together, and their relationship became better and better. Feng Zhixing didn't want to see this, so after traveling together for 2 years, he chose to leave and travel alone. After that, your mother gave birth to you. However, they didn't return to their families because the Sima family wouldn't accept a ghost as their daughter-in-law. If they go back, I'm afraid they won't even be able to protect you. Thus, they chose to live in seclusion. Since he was living in seclusion, why did all those things happen later on? Sima Yue asked. Do you know how many people's dream lover your father was back then? Although he's traveling, news about him is still heard from time to time. Sima Lufeng said. After that, Ouyang clan's young miss tracked them down and came looking for them. During the fight, she found out that your mother was from the Ghost clan. Then their information was leaked. They moved, but how could they escape the pursuit of so many forces? We found them when you were just born. Sima Yue could guess the situation at that time. She could tell from the few incidents that she had encountered that the human race had a strong prejudice against the ghost race. Knowing that humans and ghosts were in love, there would definitely be many people coming to deal with them. In addition, her father had a lot of admirers at that time, so there would definitely be more people who wanted to join in. On the other hand, the mother had just given birth and her body was weak. It was impossible for the father to protect the mother and child in front of so many people. Sima Lufeng recalled the scene back then, and until now, he still felt very shocked. You know, those powers outside have always been eyeing us covetously, coveting the inheritance we obtained in the Immortal Land, wanting to obtain information about the Immortal Land's ancient battlefield. Sima Lufeng said hatefully. The news of the Immortal Land was only spread out a few years ago, but at that time, many powers in the inner regions had already received the news, saying that the Immortal Land was about to open. Therefore, the number of people who came to besiege them was quite a few unrelated people. In their words, everyone has the right to kill those of a different race. Sima Yue clenched her fists tightly, her expression sunk, her heart hurt more and more, and she hated them more and more. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and tried her best to calm herself down, saying, "Then what happened after that?" After Lu Yin and I got the news, we secretly sent them a message, asking them to escape. But we don't know why, they didn't leave. And when we got there, the two of them were very weak. They didn't have any fighting power at all. They didn't have any fighting power against those who besieged them. Sima Lufeng said. Little Aunt is immune to poison. Although she gave birth to cousin, she shouldn't have no fighting power at all. Deja said. How did they become like that? Sima Lufeng blinked. I don't know either. But when we went over, they were already like that. The two of them were in the same situation, as if all their spiritual energy had been sucked dry. They were almost killed by those people. The two of them didn't know, but Sima Yue, who was at the side, couldn't control her tears. Drop by drop, they stained her clothes. They didn't know why, but she guessed it. They must have discovered their own divine devil physique. Even though the situation was critical, they still chose to use their own power to seal their own bodies, allowing them to grow up safely. As for them, they had used their weakest moments to face so many people. Sima Lufeng and Deja thought she cried because she heard her parents suffer. You said besieged? If it was just my father and mother, why did so many people go? Because they got the news that there were many ghost clansmen there. They even said that the Sima family was colluding with the ghost clansmen. But they didn't expect that when they went, there would only be the two of them. Sima Lufeng explained. Then how did they escape from that disaster? Those people said they wanted to kill them. The Sima family had already been accused of colluding with the ghost clansmen. Facing so many forces, they didn't dare to come out and protect them. Sima Lufeng said. Those girls who admired your father wanted to kill your mother, but at the last moment, they were saved by the Ghost King who rushed over. Ghost King? My grandfather? Sima Yue asked in astonishment. Yes, I heard your mother call him father. Sima Lufeng said. If Sima Yue was shocked, then Dija was shocked. The Ghost King actually came to the human realm personally. Sima Lufeng didn't notice their expressions as he looked at the tent above his head and continued. Maybe your mother sent a message to the ghost realm. Anyway, the Ghost King brought a group of people and rushed over. After a round of negotiation, they brought your mother away. Then what about my father? Will those people let my father go? Sima Yue asked. Those people originally wanted to punish you and your father. They asked the clan leader to take action and get rid of you. At that time, your father was almost beaten to his last breath. Sima Lufeng said, those people who were jealous of him, they wanted to kill him long ago. They even said that you were the result of human and ghost love, and wanted to kill you as well. I'm sorry at that time, your uncle Lu Yun and I weren't able to protect you and your father. You don't have to apologize. I heard from Yun that you and Uncle Lu Yun came back with injuries all over your body. Sima Yue said. They don't know what happened, but I should have guessed correctly. Those people wanted to kill cousin. How did she survive? Dija asked from the side. Speaking of which, Yue, you still have to thank Yin Lin for this matter. He came over and saved you and your father. Yin Lin. Chapter 1186. Read 336. Yin Lin, he was there too? Sima Yue asked. I didn't come before. You came when those people were trying to kill you. Sima Lufeng said. His arrival made everyone here stop. After that, he went straight to your side and carried you up from the ground. He said that she was a good child and that if you let her off today, she would return peace to you in the future. And then those people agreed to watch? Dija asked. Of course. Sima Lufeng said. You don't know Yin Lin's position in the human realm. There's no power that dares to go against him. No one can refute his words. So he saved my life at such a young age, Sima Yue muttered. She had always thought that their contact began outside the immortal land. She didn't expect that her life was saved by him. Yin Lin's words have always been accurate. After he said that, although those people didn't know what would happen in the future, their attitude towards you changed a little. However, there are still some people who want to kill you. Later, Divinator took you and your father away and suppressed this matter. A few months later, your father brought you back to the clan, but not long after, he took you away again. Later on, he also disappeared. Oh right, your name was also given to you by Yin Lin. Sima Yue was stunned. He was the one who named himself Sima Yue, Shiman Yue. He knew that they would become one in the future. What else do you know? She asked. That's all we know. Sima Lufeng said. Later on, those forces still found trouble with the clan, but because Lu Yun and I were injured, we didn't come into contact with them. Later on, the clan suppressed this matter and didn't allow the clan members to talk about it, so we didn't know about this. When your father came back, Lu Feng and I happened to be out. When we came back, he had already disappeared. After hearing his words, Sima Yue fell silent. Those people. She narrowed her eyes. Those people who wanted to kill her parents, she would properly thank them one by one. She saw that Sima Lufeng had said so much and was a little agitated just now. He was already tired, so she didn't ask for the names of those forces. She would ask again when he was better. She got up and put away the chair, saying, Have a good rest. You'll be able to get up in 3 days. She left the tent, leaving the two of them staring at each other for 3 days. After Sima Yue left, she went to the little realm, and then to the spirit pagoda. With the ghost master here, she didn't want to take the risk. She found Wu Lingyu. This guy wasn't teasing the flower petals out of boredom this time. He was reading a book about mechas on the couch. Seeing her come in, his eyes were still a little red. He sat up and pulled her to sit beside him, asking, Why are you crying? Sima Yue leaned her head on his shoulder, saying, I heard about my parents from Uncle Lu Feng just now. I couldn't hold it in. Wu Lingyu hugged her, saying, Don't be sad about the past. Everything will be fine when you find them. Sima Yue replied with a nasal voice. Although she said so, these emotions weren't something she could control. Wu Lingyu didn't tease her this time. He just quietly accompanied her and listened to her repeat what Sima Lufeng told her. "All right." Sima Yue finished speaking and left his shoulder, saying, "Father left me a box. There's something inside that I haven't seen." She took out the box. When she saw this box again, her state of mind was completely different from the first time she saw it. At that time when she saw this box, she only felt that her cheap father left it for this body. But looking at it now, she could feel her father's love. Although this box wasn't as rare as the exquisite box, it was more precious in her heart. "I've never seen you take out this box before," Wu Lingyu said. "Father left this family's ring, little spirit, a map and a letter." Sima Yue opened the box. The letter and map were still lying inside. She took out the letter and opened it again. Her tears couldn't help but fall. "Father, mother, don't worry. I'll definitely find you. Our family will definitely be reunited." Wu Lingyu took out the craft paper and looked at it, saying, "This looks like an ancient tomb." Sima Yue wiped her tears and leaned over to take a look, saying, "Looking at the feng shui position, it does look like an ancient tomb. But father didn't say where this is. But when I looked at it again, I realized that this letter is a little strange. It seems to have mentioned this." "Why is it strange?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue opened the letter, saying, "There are a few words that have slight changes. It's different from the others. Look." Wu Lingyu took a look. Those words were indeed different. "Ai Tian Ling," Sima Yue said. "These 3 words have been curled back a little, but the other words don't have this." "That's true. Ai Tianling. Could it be the Ai Tianling region?" Wu Lingyu said. "Ai Tianling region? Is it the same region?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes, the inner region," Wu Lingyu said. "Could it be that this map is a place in Ai Tianling region?" "Is there someone's ancient tomb in Ai Tianling region?" Sima Yue asked. Wu Lingyu thought for a while, saying, "It was said that an emperor's tomb was there, but no one has ever found it. Could it be that this map is the emperor's tomb? Could it be that before the emperor died, he drew a map and left it to the world, telling them, 'Come, my tomb is here, come and steal my tomb'?" Sima Yue said. "That's not impossible," Wu Lingyu said. "But it's more likely that someone went in and drew this." "Let me look at this map again," Sima Yue said. "No, this craft paper is very old, but the ink on it is not that old. Could it be that this is a map that my father left behind?" "Did they live in seclusion in that ancient tomb?" "I don't think so." Wu Lingyu said, "You said that many forces went to catch your parents. If they really lived in seclusion in that ancient tomb, it's impossible that the tomb was not discovered. There are so many people, this news can't be suppressed, but we didn't hear anything about it. Could it not be there?" Sima Yue picked up the craft paper and looked at it, but couldn't find any clues. Dad, why are you being so secretive? You could have just said it in the letter. I think he must have left something here." Wu Lingyu said, "This way, even if others get this, they won't know where it is." "I know that too. But this way we don't know where it is either." Chapter 1187. Read 336. The two of them studied for a while. In the end, Wu Lingyu found a clue. If it's not Ai Tian Ridge, then it might be Ai Tian Ridge. Wu Lingyu said, "The 2 mountain domains are not far from each other. There should be a mountain range in the distance that separates the 2 spirit domains. The shape of this mountain is a little special. It should be a landmark left for us. Ai Tian Ridge, Ai Tian Ridge. Perhaps we will only know the answer when we get there," Sima Yue said. "Then we'll talk about it when the time comes. Don't think too much about it now," Wu Lingyu said. Yes. Sima Yue stayed in the spirit pagoda for a while, and waited for her emotions to calm down before leaving. Regardless of the motives of those who had participated in this, she would find them and have a good talk about life in the future. It is better to bully an old man than to bully a poor young man. Although those forces were very powerful, one day, She would be above them and make them pay the price for what they did back then. After she went out, she went to see Dija and the others. The two of them were arguing about who was at fault for what had happened back then. They were clearly adults, but they were arguing about this matter until their faces turned red. Have they been like this for the past 2 days? Sima Yue asked Dilu, who was guarding outside. Yes, miss, they were talking half the time after you left, said Dilu. He never knew that his master had so much to say. Sima Yue shook her head, pulled open the curtain, and went in. Yue, did you do something to us? Why don't we have any strength at all? Sima Lufeng asked when he saw her enter. Sima Yue went up to check on them. They were recovering well. Cousin, why do we feel that our bodies are recovering, but why do we still feel weak? Dija asked. I poisoned both of you. Sima Yue said. What? The two of them were stunned at the same time. What's so surprising about that? Sima Yue said. There's a type of poison in the pills I gave you that will make you weak. Don't worry, the poison will only last for 3 days. When your injuries are more or less healed, the poison should also recede. Why? Sima Lufeng asked. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, if I don't let you guys rest quietly for a while, I'm afraid that you guys will beat me up again after I've just recovered a little. Indeed, he was right. For the past 2 days, they had been criticizing each other. There were several times when they wanted to fight again. If they could move, they might be defeated again. She really knew them well. Both of you have fought and quarreled. Once you've recovered, we'll continue our journey. Sima Yue said. Cousin, don't forget why we're here. What motive? Sima Lufeng asked. Why should I tell you? Dija said. F***ck, you two didn't tell me the secret you knew. Do you still want me to lead the way for you? Sima Lufeng cried out. If you want to lead the way, just lead the way. We don't need you to care about our matters. I'm not asking about yours. I'm asking you, Wei. Why are you interrupting? You. I'm going to ask you, Wei. You can't. Why you want to fight? Let's fight then. I'll beat you up until you can't find north this time. You're saying it as if you've been beaten up until you can't find north. The two of them started quarreling again. Sima Yue was speechless. She couldn't be bothered with them. She pulled open the curtains and went out. Those ghost clansmen didn't dare to walk around. Other than those who were guarding the tents, the others were sitting nearby. She left the group and came to a bare mountain. There were no plants. The ground was bumpy and the mountaintop was flat. It should have been shaved off. She sat down at the top of the mountain and looked at the charred ground. She couldn't imagine how powerful the battle must have been to cause such a result. Such a large-scale battle. It's already like this at the border. What kind of scene would it be inside? Who was the one fighting with whom? Was it the Human Devil clan, or the Ghost clan? Or was it a battle royale between the 3 clans? The final answer was unknown. They could only imagine. She sat alone at the top of the mountain for a long time. She thought about many things. She thought about her past life, her parents on Earth, her parents in her past life, and her parents in this life. Every one of them loved her so much. Then, she thought of the hatred she had to bear. She would return the hatred that others had inflicted on her, bit by bit. This time, she would end the hatred from her past life. Suddenly, she felt a movement in the air. Her expression changed. She got up and teleported back to the campsite. Quick, get the people far away to come back. Sima Yue ordered Dilu. What happened? Dilu asked. The space flow is here. We have to hide quickly. Sima Yue said. Dilu and the rest quickly gathered the guards when they heard that the space flow was here. Sima Yue entered the tent. The 2 people who were quarreling inside stopped and said, The time flow is here? Yes. Sima Yue went forward and fed them 2 antidotes. She said, Let's hide in the little realm for a while. Fortunately, the guards were well trained. They all came back quickly. Sima Yue opened the little realm and asked everyone to go in before she went in herself. However, there were too many people and the space flow was too fast. She threw the last few people into the little realm at the last moment. Before she could go in, she was sucked into the space flow. Fortunately, she closed the little realm at the last moment. Otherwise, the entire little realm would have collapsed. The stones that rolled up from the ground hit her face and body. Her body was torn apart by the space flow. This feeling was similar to when she first arrived at the primordial lands. The space tunnel collapsed and she came out of the void. However, the space flow was much gentler than the void. Her strength had also increased a lot. Therefore, she did not suffer as serious injuries as before. However, when she was thrown out by the space flow, her body was in pain. She still had some consciousness. She knew that she was thrown out, and that someone was walking towards her. She sensed that she could still use the spiritual energy in her body. If these people wanted to kill her, she could still take them by surprise. However, they obviously did not want to kill her. She felt that someone forced her mouth open and fed her 2 pills. The pills took effect quickly. She felt much better, but she still could not open her eyes. She did not know who they were, whether they were friend or foe. Therefore, she continued to pretend to be unconscious. However, perhaps because her injuries were too serious, her body started to repair itself and she really fell asleep. Chapter 1188. Read 336. In a cave, Sima Yue was lying on a pile of grass. A little girl came in from outside and said unhappily to the people inside, "Why did you bring such a woman back? She's so weak. Do we have to bring her along?" "What do you know?" A man with blue eyes glared at her. "The area ahead is so dangerous. Do you dare to walk in front of the group?" "I'm not going." The woman said, "It's so dangerous. If I'm not careful, I'll be cut in half, and you still want me to go. Since you don't want to go, then find someone to come back. Why are you still talking so much nonsense?" The blue-eyed man said. The woman couldn't refute him for the time being and said, "All right, then we'll keep this person alive for now." However, for someone so weak to survive being swept up by the spatial currents, he's really lucky. "He is indeed lucky," another white-haired old man said. "But this woman is so beautiful. I don't like her. What should I do?" "If you want to disfigure me, then go ahead. Haven't you done this kind of thing before?" The blue-eyed man's voice was flat, as if he didn't care about the lives of others. Or it could be said that he was already used to the woman's actions. "We want her to stay alive to scout ahead, so don't kill her," the old man said. "No problem." The woman smiled as she walked to Sima Yue's side. She squatted down and took out a dagger with a sheath. She slid the dagger across Sima Yue's face and said, "Tisk tsk. What a beautiful young lady. It's such a pity that she's ruined." "Then let her go," the blue-eyed man said. The woman laughed and said, "How is that possible? The more beautiful a woman is, the more I want to ruin her. The uglier she is, the happier I am. I really need to think about how to ruin such a beautiful little girl." The blue-eyed man glanced at her and said, "After so many years, you're still so perverted." I'll take that as a compliment. I like such compliments." The girl giggled and took the dagger away from Sima Yue's face. "Such good skin. I'll draw a turtle on the left side of her face, then use some medicine to lightly rub on the other side of her face. How about it?" She turned to look at the old man. "Don't ask me. You don't listen to what I say every time. You always use the opposite," the old man said. "Then just say the opposite of what you want to say." The woman said, "Let's not worry about which potion to use for now. Let's draw the tortoise here first. My skills have improved in the past few years. With such a small face, I can draw 100 slashes on it before I can draw a turtle. I see that your strength hasn't increased these few years. Is it because you're researching this?" The old man said. "That's right." The woman nodded. "Destroying the faces of all the women who are prettier than me is the greatest pleasure of my life. This has always been your hobby. You don't have to explain it to us," the old man said. "You know me so well." The woman's lips curled into an evil smile. She took out the dagger and pressed it on the handle. The dagger split into many small blades. The blades were so thin that they were almost transparent. "I'm going to start now." Her voice was filled with agitation and excitement, just like how she used to be. When the blades were about to touch Sima Yue, She stopped and asked the two people behind her hesitantly. Should I wait for her to wake up before I start? Seeing the way she resists, the look of fear in her eyes, the pleasure will increase exponentially. We don't have so much time to wait for you, the old man said. We have to hurry after she wakes up. You should think about it yourself. Then I'd better start now, the woman said. Maybe she'll wake up after I stab her. It'll be a good feeling for her to turn from confusion to fear. Up to you. As long as it didn't disrupt their plans, anything was fine. Then I'm going to start. Her blade slowly approached Sima Yoyue's face, as if she was about to complete a sacred plan. The blade was getting closer and closer to Sima Yoyue's face. The moment it touched her skin, a ball of flame suddenly appeared from her body, and the dagger turned into ashes instantly. Ah! The woman's scream startled the other two people who had their eyes closed. They looked over and saw that the woman was engulfed in flames. Before they could do anything, she turned into ashes right in front of their eyes. This flame! The two of them quickly stood up and used their spiritual energy to protect themselves, in case the flame suddenly attacked them. That woman was someone who was half a step into the supreme level. What kind of flame was that? How could she be killed so easily? I've always loved the body my parents gave me. The thing I hate the most is other people trying to disfigure me. Sima Yue snorted. I didn't expect to encounter the thing I hate the most the moment I wake up. It's so uncomfortable. She sat up, moved her shoulders and twisted her neck. She was not afraid of being disfigured at all. Of course, this person was already burned to ashes by her, so what was there to be afraid of? You've been awake for a long time. The blue-eyed man looked at her and said, I've been awake for a while. I thought you guys would tell me something useful. In the end, other than the fact that this perverted woman likes to disfigure people, you guys didn't say anything else. Sima Yue said, You've been awake for a long time. How could we not know? The old man was shocked. It's very simple. My spiritual energy is better than yours. She kept the flame and turned into a little birdie that landed on her palm. Thank you, little birdie. In that instant, little birdie ran out of its own accord and burned the woman to death. It was faster than her will. The two people felt the shocking light from the little flame and said in surprise, What a powerful flame. All right, let's go back. Sima Yue said. The reason why she was able to burn the woman to death so easily was because she was caught off guard. The woman was completely defenseless. Although she was very strong, her defenseless body was only slightly stronger than a normal person. She kept the flame and looked at the two men. Thinking of what they said before, she said, Little Seven, Hua Hua Little Dream, who's going to fight or do you want to fight together? The three ladies appeared beside her. Looking at the two people opposite her, Little Seven said, Of course I'll be the one to fight one-on-one. Little Seven, do you know how to count? There are obviously two of them. 1 against 2, that's not a one-on-one. Little Dream said. It's all the same. Little Seven didn't think there was any difference between 1 and 2. Sima Yue wanted to complain from behind. The strong were indeed different. She thought that one of them was hundreds of strong warriors, but she saw two of them as one. Chapter 1189. Actually, I think it's more fun to bully with numbers. Hua Hua moved his index finger and said, I love doing this kind of thing. Yes, just like how that woman likes to disfigure others. That's your specialty, not ours. Little Seven snorted. Now, even Hua Hua had killed more people than her, because she had more flowers. I didn't say I wanted so many flowers. Hua Hua grinned and said, I mean the three of us can take down the two of them together. What do you think? Let's give it a try. After saying that, Little Dream took the lead and ran over. Let's do it. Little Seven said as she began to attack. Seriously, you run faster than me every time. Hua Hua said and ran after him. Sima Yue was standing behind them. She was speechless when she saw that the three of them only attacked after a short discussion. These three people were they were clearly the ones who saw these people in the spirit pagoda trying to disfigure her and use her to detect the danger ahead. They were the ones who wanted to come out and deal with them together. But now they were squawking here and creating psychological pressure for the other party. Their strength was originally higher than the two of them. With the three of them attacking together, it was obvious that they could settle it in 3 to 5 minutes. However, they slowly exhausted their spirit energy. After that, they played with them like rubber balls. You punch me, I kick you. You go back and forth. They directly crippled the two of them. After that, they carried them in front of Sima Yu. Yu, these two people are really tough. It took us so long to finish them off. Little Seven stacked the two of them together, looking as if they were tired just now. Sima Yu stood at the entrance and looked at the two bruised and swollen faces. She said, I guess they've never been beaten up like this in their entire lives. Who are you? As the old man spoke, he spat out a mouthful of blood, which contained a tooth. Do you still need to know who I am? Sima Yu asked. We saved you, but you bite the hand that feeds you, the old man said angrily, but his voice was soft and powerless. Save me? Sima Yu laughed. Are you trying to save me? If it wasn't for us, you would have died long ago. The blue-eyed man said. Yes, it was you who moved me to Mountain D, but did you want to save me out of kindness? Sima Yu squatted down and looked at his eyes. Blue eyes are really pretty, but it's a pity that you don't have them. Are you blind? Or do you like to lie through your teeth? You clearly wanted Yu to scout ahead of you and use her. Now you dare to say that you saved her? Do you believe that I will dig out both of your eyeballs? Little Seven threatened from the side. What's the use of digging out their eyeballs? If it was me, I would cut off their limbs, dig out their eyeballs, cut off their ears, seal their mouths, and put them in roly-poly toys to be swine. Little Dream said. Hua glanced at Little Meng and said, You should spend less time with Little Roar. You've been led astray by him. Little Roar was implicated again. However, Little Meng didn't care and said, I just like to play with him, so what? Hua King, King Hua, Flower King Hua. Don't call me such a horrible name. Hua shouted. I'm calling you by your name. I thought that the names I thought of for you were pretty nice. Why don't you like them? If not, we can change them for you. Today we'll call you Flower King Hua, tomorrow we'll call you Hua King, and the day after tomorrow we'll call you Hua King. Look, how nice is that? You dare. Hua attacked Little Meng with a vine, and the two of them fought back and forth. Sima Yu saw Little Meng like this and was thankful to Little Roar. If it wasn't for that fellow, Little Meng would probably still be immersed in sorrow and wouldn't be able to smile. Although he did bring Little Meng further down the path of being a wretched scoundrel, she turned her attention to the two of them and said, I'll give you 2 choices now. 1, I'll send you straight to hell. No, you can't go to hell from here. I'll make you stay here forever. The second choice is for you to tell me what happened, and I'll let you live. Do you think we'll believe you? The old man took a sip. As long as we tell you, you'll kill us immediately. Why would I? Sima Yu said. I said I'll leave you a path, so I'll leave you a path. You have to believe me, understand? The two of them snorted coldly, not believing her. Looks like you really don't believe me. Sima Yu said. However, you don't have the freedom to tell me. Maybe if you tell me, you can exchange it for some hope. I won't tell you. Just kill us directly. Sima Yu stood up. The two of them were quite determined. Unfortunately, it was useless. She confirmed that there was no one around. With a thought, she brought the two of them into the spirit pagoda and found Wu Lingyu. You know how to interrogate people, right? Sima Yu said. I'll leave them to you too. See if you can get any useful information out of them. Why don't you use your divine sense to investigate directly? Wu Lingyu asked. The two of them are so strong. If I want to use my divine sense to investigate, I can only kill them. But I still have a use for them. Sima Yu said. What use do 2 people who were beaten into 2 handicapped people have other than their beautiful eyes? Wu Lingyu glanced at her. She had praised this guy's beautiful eyes just now, but she didn't even praise him. Sima Yu immediately understood what he meant. However, she didn't want to continue the topic and said, When I woke up, they were saying something about danger ahead and asked me to lead the way. If we want to go, then we can let them lead the way in front. Don't tell me we can kill them, and then you can lead the way? That's fine too. Wu Lingyu agreed. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and said, don't think about those useless things. I'll hand them over to you. You have to interrogate them properly. Saying that, she went to lie down on Wu Lingyu's couch, intending to watch him interrogate the two people. All right then. Wu Lingyu looked at her, and could only agree. He turned around to interrogate the two people. As the Devil Clan's king, he knew thousands of interrogation methods. He casually settled the two of them, and made them obediently tell him the whole story. Sima Yue's eyes lit up when she heard what they said. There were treasures. She loved to see people snatching things. As for these two people, she would keep her promise and keep their lives. But she hoped that they could live past 3 days. Because those people from Blood Fiend City were not to be trifled with. Chapter 1190. She used drugs to make the two of them unable to speak, in case they talked about the Spirit Pagoda when they reached Blood Fiend City. She then carried them outside and opened the door to the little realm, bringing them in. She went straight to Blood Fiend City, and when the people in Blood Fiend City sensed her arrival, they all came out to meet her. Seeing her carrying two people in, everyone was curious. Yue, why are you carrying them? I'm here to see if there's any place in the city that can hold criminals. Lock them up. Sima Yue said. What did these people do? Did they bully you? Great, they dare to bully you. Are they tired of living or don't want to live anymore? If they don't want to live anymore, come, let's have a good talk about life with them. That's right, that's right. Yue, what did they do? Sima Yue looked at them. Although these people weren't good people, but they treated her quite well. When they heard that she was going to lock them up here, they immediately stood up for her. Actually, it's nothing much. Sima Yue said, previously I met with the spatial flow and got injured. Then I was caught by them. One of their little friends wanted to disfigure me and was killed by me. These two people wanted me to scout ahead for them, because that path is very dangerous. F*CK, such people should be killed directly. Why are you keeping them alive? Someone shouted. But I promised them that if they tell me what happened here, I will spare their lives. Sima Yue said with difficulty. Later on they said that I have to fulfill my promise. But if I just let them go like this, I'm not assured. What if they come to harm me again? So after thinking about it, it's still best to lock them up here. So it's like this. Yue, you promised them so you can't kill them. That's right. You've always been a person who keeps your promise, so I can't kill them. Didn't you say that you want to lock them up here? You know that we didn't build a prison. How about this? You put them in our courtyard and we'll help you look after them. Then you can have a good talk with them about how beautiful life is. Sima Yue's smile widened. These guys were so cute. Since there's no prison, let's leave it at that. You have to keep an eye on him. Don't let him run away. Don't worry. With us here, where can he run to? That person said confidently. If that's the case, I'll leave it to you. I still have something to do outside, so I'll take my leave first. Sima Yue smiled as she handed the girl over to them. Don't worry. We will definitely take good care of them. All right. Sima Yue handed them over and went to look for Deja. Just like what she thought, the two of them didn't manage to survive for more than 3 days in Blood Fiend City. When they finally died, the two of them still couldn't figure out how such a little baby could wipe out the 3 of them. And why did they bring back such a malefic star? Of course, this was all in the future. After Sima Yue left Blood Fiend City, she went to look for Deja and the others and told them about the situation outside. This is one of the small battlefields in the ancient battlefield. It said that there are many uncertain factors, space rupture, small-scale space collapse and so on. So if we go out again, it's not suitable to bring so many people. They were all aware of how strong the power of space was. Towards her suggestion, they didn't have any objections. I heard that quite a number of people are here. Uncle Lu Feng, after we go out, you can check if Uncle Lu Yan is nearby. Sima Yue said. If he's around, you can go back to the Sima family. Sima Lu Feng understood what she meant and said, don't think of asking me to go back. I don't want to go back and be together with that bunch of old farts. Then you can bear to let Uncle Lu Feng face those old farts alone? What's there to not bear? Sima Lu Feng said. He's done such things many times. I'm the one who's often hurt. There's no need to pity him. How thick-skinned. Actually, she didn't really want him to follow her and see what she and Deja were going to do. But if she let him go out alone, she wouldn't be at ease. Forget it, let's go out and see if Uncle Lu Yun and the others are here first. If they weren't, then there was no point in saying anything now. Because they couldn't bring so many people along, only Sima Lu Feng, Deja, Ghostmaster and Di Lu went out in the end. After she came out, she asked Sima Lu Feng to check if Sima Lu Yun was around. Sima Lu Feng was extremely unwilling to contact that thing. He silently prayed that the Sima family members weren't nearby. But when he saw the result, his heart wanted to cry. The Sima family members were actually nearby. Sima Yue smiled and said, Uncle Lu Feng, looks like you're going back. There must be something wrong with the connection. I'll try again, Sima Lu Feng said. Then he tried again and the result was the same. Sima Yue smiled and looked at him without saying anything. Don't smile so treacherously. I'll contact Lu Yun. Maybe he'll come with me to protect you, Sima Lu Feng said. Before Sima Yue could say anything, she saw him take out a sound stone and contacted Sima Lu Yun. Where did you go? Sima Lu Yun's voice was still cold. Although he was a little impatient, there was still a hint of concern. Lu Yun, I met with some trouble. I've been captured, Sima Lu Feng said. Seeing that Sima Yue and the others wanted to speak, he quickly gestured for them to keep quiet. Who captured you? Sima Lu Yun asked. Ghost clansmen, Sima Lu Feng said. I finally managed to contact you. Quickly come back and save me. Sima Lu Yun, who was walking along a tunnel, stopped. You can't even handle ghost clansmen. So useless? His words were filled with slight contempt. Damn, what do you mean useless? There are so many ghost clansmen. Why don't you try? Sima Lu Feng shouted. What's wrong? Who are you talking to? The few people in front stopped and turned around to ask Sima Lu Yun. Lu Feng, Sima Lu Yun said. Since you've contacted him, ask him to come back quickly. Wasn't he just swept away by the spatial flow? He actually didn't come back after so long. Seems like his ability has decreased quite a bit. When we go back, ask him to go into closed-door cultivation. His cold attitude showed no concern at all. He said he was captured by the ghost clansmen. He's not far away now. He asked us to go back and save him, Sima Lu Yun said. Captured? The elder who spoke just now frowned. It's a crucial moment now. Where would we have the time to save him? If he can't escape, then let him never come back. Chapter 1191. Read 336. Sima Lu Feng was on the other side of the sound stone. When he heard these words, although he already understood, he still couldn't help but feel bitter because of this. Time is of the essence. Let's continue moving forward. You must find that thing before those people. That elder urged Sima Lu Yun. First elder, no matter what, Lu Feng is still a relatively important disciple of the family. Should we? What do you want? Eldest elder berated. If we get that thing, the Sima family can rise again. This is more important than Sima Lu Feng's life. Let's go. Although there were a few people who wanted to save Sima Lu Feng, but firstly, they didn't dare to go against eldest elder's words. Secondly, they knew that obtaining that thing was more important than saving Sima Lu Feng. When they arrived here, many people had already entered. If that thing was obtained by someone else, they would not be able to complete their mission, and the Sima family would lose a chance to rise again. If no one had discovered this place, they could still send a group of people out to save Sima Lu Feng. But from the looks of it now, it was impossible. They were too late. The others started to move, but Sima Lu Yun was still standing at the same spot, not intending to follow. Sima Lu Yun. Eldest elder took a few steps and realized that he didn't catch up, so he chided. Sima Lu Yun kept the sound stone and said, I'll go out and take a look. After saying that, he turned around and walked back the way he came, completely ignoring the great elder. Great Elder this. Those people looked at the Great Elder awkwardly. Sima Luyan didn't put Eldest Elder in his eyes at all, which made the atmosphere a little awkward. However, this was not the first time. If he wants to go, then let him go. It doesn't matter if we lose him. Let's go. With that, the Great Elder turned around and left. Sima Luyan's strength wasn't considered high here, leaving wouldn't affect them much. But it was so dangerous outside. If he left, he might not be able to return, especially when he had to deal with the ghost race. Doing so in the ancient battlefield was simply courting death. So he didn't care about Sima Luyan's disrespect towards him, because in his opinion he was being serious with a person who was about to die. Sima Luyan's lips curled into a faint mocking smile. After returning to land, he took out the sound stone and said, "Speak, what's the matter?" What's the matter?" Sima Lufeng asked. "Who are you with?" Sima Luyan asked. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This fellow didn't believe that Sima Lufeng was caught from the start. However, he still left the Sima family because of this, which showed his trust in Lufeng and his disdain for the Sima family. He didn't want to be with those people either. Sima Lufeng knew that he couldn't deceive him. The two of them knew each other too well. Even if there was a slight change in tone, it couldn't be hidden from the other party. "People from the Ghost Clan," he replied. Sima Luyan didn't say anything. It was obvious that he didn't believe him. "He's really with the Ghost Clansmen." Sima Lufeng said. "It's just that Yu is also with them." "She's with you." Sima Luyan's voice finally fluctuated. "Wait here, I'll be right there." "Hey!" Before Sima Lufeng could finish his sentence, the other party cut off the connection. He wasn't interested in what he was going to say. Sima Yue looked at him sympathetically. His position in the family was really low. It wasn't easy for Sima Luyan to show some concern for him. Unfortunately, he met with other matters and his position took a turn for the worse. Dija's attitude towards Sima Lufeng changed because of this. This fellow was similar to himself in the past. However, he was more fortunate than himself because he had Sima Luyan with him. As for himself, he only had himself. No, he had Little Ant. In his most difficult and hopeless days, it was Little Ant who accompanied him and helped him walk out of it. She even made him who he was today. So no matter what price he had to pay, he had to save her. Very quickly, Sima Luyan came over. When he saw Sima Yue in female clothes, he shouted coldly, "Why are you here? Do you know where this is? It's so dangerous and you still came. Do you want to die?" Sima Yue touched her nose. Sima Lufeng gave her a sympathetic look. "Who asked you to laugh at me just now? Now you're being scolded." And Dija, who was at the side, was unhappy. He pulled Sima Yue and protected her behind him. He looked at Sima Luyan and said, "What right do you have to scold her?" Sima Luyan looked at Dija. Both of them had similar auras. It almost froze the surrounding air. "Ghost Clan," Sima Luyan said. "That's right." Dija looked at him and said, "Don't think that you can scold her like this just because you're her uncle. She's from my Ghost Clan, not from your Sima family." Sima Luyan shifted his gaze to the little head that popped out behind him and asked, "Who's that?" "Cousin," Sima Yue said, "mother's sister's son." "Move aside," Sima Luyan shouted coldly. Sima Yue was from his Sima family. How was she from the Ghost Clan? Wishful thinking. No. Dija pulled Sima Yue, who wanted to go out. He was determined not to let her suffer. "Move aside," Sima Luyan repeated. Dija didn't say anything, but his actions showed his attitude. No, he wouldn't move aside. Sima Lufeng looked at them and couldn't help but cover his eyes. He pulled Sima Yue to one side. And the moment he pulled Sima Yue, Sima Luyan made a move. And Dija retaliated at the same time. Both of them flew into the sky. Sima Yue looked up at the two of them fighting and said, "You really know him well." "Of course," Sima Lufeng continued. "This guy is the most impatient. He never says 3 times. If the other party still doesn't listen to him after the second time, he would make a move. Just now Luyan told Dija to move aside twice. But Dija didn't listen. He knew that he would make a move. Sima Luyan and Deja didn't interact before, so he didn't hold back like Sima Lufeng. Plus, he hated the Ghost Clan, so he was more ruthless. Plus, his strength was originally higher than Sima Lufeng and Deja. Deja was beaten back by him and even got injured. Cousin. Sima Yue saw that Deja was injured. She called out worriedly, Ghost Master, separate them. Ghost Master thought that Sima Yue wouldn't care about this. If she didn't say anything, he was going to make a move too. This battle was different from the previous one. He couldn't let it go. Ghost Master flew up and attacked Sima Luyan. He separated the two of them and helped Deja back to the ground. Chapter 1192. Ghost Master's attack was not light. Sima Luyan was hit and his body fell. Sima Lufeng flew up and caught him. Cousin Uncle Luyan. Sima Yue ran over and saw the two injured people. She asked with concern, Are you okay? Ghost Master and Sima Lufeng took out some pills for them to eat. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Sima Yue stood in the middle and did not know who to look at. Both of them were very nice to her, and it was not good to care about either of them first. Alright, Deja treats Yue very well. You scared Yue just now. That's why he thought you would hurt her. Sima Lufeng spoke first, breaking the stiff atmosphere. Yes, Uncle Luyan. Although my cousin is from the Ghost Clan, he treats me very well. Sima Yue said, If you don't like the Ghost Clan, I have the bloodline and aura of the Ghost Clan in me too. Does that mean you don't like me too? Wearing women's clothing and acting coquettishly, he could do it easily. Sima Luyan looked at Sima Yue's troubled look and was silent for a moment before saying, Why are you with the Ghost Clan? We met in the Immortal Land and met. Sima Yue said, Then we came here. You brought her in? Sima Luyan looked at Deja and questioned. Humph. Deja clutched his chest and did not answer him. The only reason he didn't let the Ghost Master kill him was because of Sima Yue. No, I came here and met my cousin. Sima Yue said. Uncle Yuyun's aura was too much. She couldn't stand it. He had never met such a fierce elder before. What are you doing here alone? Sima Luyan glared at her, causing her to shrink her neck. I'm here for something. Sima Yue said. She blinked her eyes at Sima Lufeng, asking him to speak up for her. Alright. Why are you being so fierce? Look, Yue doesn't even dare to talk to you. Sima Lufeng said. If Yue ignores you in the future, don't cry to me. You will pay attention to me anyway, right Yue? Yes, yes. Sima Yue nodded vigorously. She did not like elders who were too fierce. Sima Lufeng was indeed someone who grew up with Sima Luyan. He knew where his weak spot was. With that, Sima Luyan's expression eased up quite a bit. He was only concerned about her safety. He was overly worried about her sudden appearance in such a dangerous place, so he subconsciously pulled a long face. It wasn't that he didn't want her to come into contact with the Ghost Clan. He had seen Yukoluo before and he did not hate her that much. Why did you come in? If it's so dangerous, why aren't you with the people from Heartbreak Valley? It's quite complicated. Let's find a place for you guys to heal. I'll tell you about my situation slowly. Sima Yue said. She believed that if she mentioned Yin Lin, he wouldn't be too angry. After all, she had already come in, so he couldn't do anything to her. One uncle was serious and cold, the other uncle was unrestrained. She didn't know what their father who grew up with them was like. She told him the whole story. Sima Luyan's expression was indeed darker, but he didn't say anything else. So you're going to the center of the ancient battlefield to collect the ancient souls? Yes. I don't know why Yin Lin told me this, but since he mentioned it, there must be a reason. If this is the way to save my mother, I'll go no matter how dangerous it is. Sima Yue said. Do you know how dangerous the ancient battlefield is? Sima Luyan asked. I know. Sima Yue said. But I have a way. Even if it doesn't succeed, I can still escape unscathed. What way? Sima Luyan asked. I have the nemesis of the Ghost Clan. Sima Yue said. And I have a lot of helpers. Very powerful? Before I came in, I killed one of my uncles. Sima Yue said. Prince of the Ghost Clan? Yes. Sima Yue said. Although his guards aren't much, they're still royal guards. So my battle power isn't that weak. And I have my cousin with me. Sima Luyun was silent for a while and said, Lu Feng and I will go with you. Ah. Sima Luyun saw Sima Yue's shocked look and raised his eyebrows. Why, you can go with him, but you can't let us. That's right, that's right. Yue, we're both your elders. Naturally, we have to protect you, Sima Lu Feng said. Sima Yue wanted to say no, but seeing Sima Luyun's expression, she could only agree. So for the rest of the journey, not only did she not get rid of Sima Lu Feng, there was an additional Sima Luyun. This made her feel helpless. But according to what Sima Lu Feng said, your mother's clan members are all with you. Why did you reject your father's people? For fairness, she had no choice. Oh right, were you in that highland just now? Sima Lu Feng asked. Sima Luyun replied. Are there any treasures in there? Sima Yue asked. They said that there are many treasures in there, but we didn't see anything. Sima Luyun said, maybe the place we entered is different. I heard that there are many treasures in that highland. Why don't we go and join in the fun? Sima Yue said, since we're already here, it'll be a waste if we don't go. You want to go? Sima Luyun looked at her and asked. Hee. Sima Yue laughed. Her attitude was clear. Then let's go. Sima Luyun said, but we might meet those people from Sima family. Those old fellows are a little annoying. Sima Lu Feng said, but those people aren't around. Don't worry that they will hurt you. Those people won't? Deja asked. Although they are cold-blooded and heartless and only think about the clan, they won't hurt you. Sima Lu Feng said. Yinlin's words back then still had some effect. What about those people who want to kill her? They went to another place. Sima Luyun said. We didn't come in together. The two of them could tolerate those people because they were neutral in the clan. If they were that group of people, how could the two of them be with them? But if that's the case, I'm afraid that Yue's news will spread back to the clan. Sima Lu Feng said. Won't this attract danger? Her current strength has far exceeded our expectations. At this time, those people are too busy with the clan's matters. How would they have the energy to do this? Sima Luyun said. What about those forces? If they find out, what's there to be afraid of? Unless those forces all join forces. Otherwise, it's impossible to touch me. Sima Yue said. If they really want to join forces, then let's compete whether they have more people or our bird clan has more people. Chapter 1193. Seeing her domineering look, Sima Lu Feng and the others were gratified. It was a miracle that she could reach where she was today without the support of her family. Aren't you afraid that those birds won't listen to you? Deja said. After all, you are just a new king of the rocks. The truly powerful birds may not be convinced. I have other ways. No matter how strong it is, it won't be able to resist. Sima Yue said. Although I don't want the bird clan to be involved in my personal affairs, at least it's a form of deterrence to outsiders. If it really didn't work, she didn't mind asking them for help. If Little Rock wasn't powerful enough, Crimson Flame could come out. Previously, Crimson Flame had always been in a state of injury, and it was very serious. Ever since Qingyi went in, his injuries quickly recovered. A few days ago, he told her that he had recovered a lot of his strength. If he encountered a Paragon Realm expert, he wouldn't have to worry. So, was he telling her that no one below the Celestial Emperor level was a match for him? In the past, he didn't want the world to know about him because he wasn't strong enough. In addition, he had his own troubles. Now that he had recovered his strength, it was time for him to come out and command the birds. Although Sima Luyun and the others weren't completely clear about her trump card, but seeing how confident she was, they believed her words. By the way, Uncle Luyun, do you know what the cleanest water here is? The cleanest water? Why are you asking this? Are you looking for it? Sima Lu Feng asked. Before I came in, Yinlin told me that if I found the cleanest water, he would tell me something about my father. Sima Yue said. Sima Luyun and Sima Lu Feng's bodies shook. Their faces revealed a joyous expression as they asked, "Really?" If he was willing to give them the news, then finding Sima Lu Xian would be just around the corner. That's what he said. Sima Yue said. But he didn't say what the cleanest water was. There are no standards, no hints. The cleanest water. Sima Lu Feng looked at Sima Lu Yun. It's too hard to find without a standard. What if we find water that we think is the cleanest, but he doesn't think so? This was very likely. Let's not talk about whether or not Yin Lin was making things difficult for her. He didn't say what the standard was, so there were 1,000 possibilities. He didn't tell you the standard, although it will bring a certain degree of difficulty to the search, but from another perspective, this is also a good thing. Sima Lu Yun said. That's right. Sima Lu Feng agreed. If he wants to tell you that news, even if you don't bring back the cleanest water, as long as he says so, then so be it. That's the only way we can think of it now. Sima Yue said. I think that since he asked me to do this, he must have known that I would find something here. But that depends on whether I can find it or not. It's still early, we can take our time, Deja said. Yes. Now let's go and see what we can find in this battlefield. Actually, there's nothing much here. It's just that when our ancestors came here, they received an inheritance. It's our fusion spirit technique. Sima Lu Yun said. Since the inheritance has already been received, what else is there here? Sima Yue asked. According to the news passed down by our ancestors, when our ancestors were here, although they received the inheritance, they didn't take away the divine tools here. Sima Lu Yun said. Why? It said that there were spirits guarding here. It's also said that after our ancestors comprehended the spirit technique, they didn't have time and were directly sent out. Sima Lu Yun said. But no matter what, it's certain that there are many spirit tools here. Some ancient divine tools, even if we find them, they can't be used. Sima Yue said. That's hard to say. Sima Lu Feng said. I don't know what the news that was passed down said, but when we heard that the immortal land would open again, the clan leader was very excited, saying that the chance to revive the clan had come. He even said that we must get that thing. So we came in based on the map passed down by the clan. Since it's a secret passed down by the clan, how did those people know? And so many people came here? Sima Yue asked. Because of what happened that year. Sima Lu Yun said. Because of my father and the rest? Sima Yue was a little surprised. How was this related to that matter again? Sima Lu Yun knew that Sima Lu Feng told her about what happened that year and said, those forces that participated at that time, although they spared your and your father's lives in the end, they joined forces to make things difficult for the clan, saying that we colluded with the ghost clan and brought harm to the human race, so we had to compensate. Compensate? Using this news? Sima Yue asked. At that time, there were already some forces that knew that the immortal land would open again in the next few decades, so after that incident, they joined forces to force the clan. In the end, it was the clan that released the news, which finally calmed the matter down. Sima Lu Yun said. The news of the ancient battlefield was all spread out? Sima Yue asked. We didn't know much to begin with, some of it was spread out before. That time we told them everything we knew, because of that, we even swore to the heavens that we didn't lie, so those people believed us. Sima Lu Yun said. Later on, we don't know who spread the news, so this time, so many people came to the ancient battlefield. No wonder so many people came this time. Sima Yue said. With so many people coming to snatch the treasure, the probability is much lower. That's right. It's also because of this that the clan has a lot of opinions about your father and the rest. Even if they know about your news, they might come to kill you. Sima family's position in the inner regions has been getting lower and lower these few years. Originally your father was the hope of the genius generation, but we didn't expect that kind of thing to happen later on. Sima Lu Feng sighed. If we don't get that thing, I'm afraid the clan will have a bigger opinion. A single divine artifact can revitalize a family? That's too unbelievable. Sima Yue said. What kind of heaven-defying treasure is that divine weapon? It actually has such an effect. If we really get it in front of everyone, I'm afraid it won't be a treasure to revive the clan, but a source of disaster? If those people knew that the Sima family got that treasure here, once this news was released, those people would join forces to force them to hand it over. These forces love to gather together to do shameless things. Chapter 1194. It wasn't that they didn't consider Sima Yoyue's words, but the current situation didn't allow them to worry about this. Although Sima Lufeng and Sima Lu Yin had opinions about the clan, it was still a clan after all. It was impossible for them to have no feelings at all. On one hand, they were dissatisfied with the way the clan did things. On the other hand, they were worried about the current situation of the clan. And this was also one of the reasons why they were willing to follow Eldest Elder to search for the divine tool. Actually, I have a good idea. It can prevent the divine tool from falling into other people's hands, and it won't bring any trouble to the Sima family. Sima Yue said. What idea? Sima Lufeng casually continued, attracting Sima Lu Yun's disdain. As long as I get the divine tool, it'll be fine. This way, the divine tool will still be in our hands, but it won't bring any trouble to the clan. Although Sima Lu Yun guessed that she would say this, but hearing it with his own ears, he deeply understood how shameless she was. Ha ha ha, cousin, your shameless look is so cute. If you want the divine tool, I'll definitely snatch it for you. Deja laughed. He liked how shameless she was. This time it was Sima Yue who was speechless. What did he mean by shameless? Since when was she shameless? It's still unknown whether the divine tool exists. We can go in and take a look first. Sima Lu Yin didn't agree immediately. Nobody knew what the situation was like here, whether the divine tool really existed, whether the divine tool would fall into other people's hands was also unknown. Then we'll go after you've recovered, Sima Yue said with a smile. One day later, they set off again. Sima Lu Yin brought them to the highland. They didn't encounter too much danger on the way. Thinking about how she was caught and almost used as a guide dog, she felt stifled. This road was passed down by our ancestors, so it's not that dangerous, Sima Lu Yin explained. If people who don't know about it came, it won't be as easy as us. So that ancestor was still useful. When they reached here, they met quite a number of people who had already arrived. There were footprints all around the entrance of the cave. Quite a number of people have already come. I wonder what the situation inside is like, Sima Lufeng said. Let's go in and take a look. Sima Yue was about to go in when Deja stopped her. I'll go in first. You stay behind me, Deja said and went in first. Sima Yue smiled and followed Deja inside. Then came the Ghost Master and Di Lu, followed by Sima Lufeng and Sima Lu Yin. This fellow snatched our seats. Sima Lufeng glared at the back view of the few people in front as he said, That's right. Sima Lu Yin said faintly and followed in. Although she was from the Ghost clan, she treated Sima Yue well. Sima Lufeng harumphed twice and followed in. Sima Yue and the rest walked in. At first it was just a cave, but later on, it seemed like they had entered a maze. And the space inside was boundless. It didn't seem like an ancient battlefield at all. This place seems to be the old site of a sect, Sima Yue said. It really does. The others had the same feeling. Such a big place didn't seem like a simple basement. There's something on the wall, Deja said. Sima Yue shot out a flame. As expected, there were some paintings carved on the wall. There were humans, spirit beasts, and some ugly ones. They should be from the Devil clan or the Ghost clan. These paintings seem to be telling a story, Sima Yue said. She looked back and realized that there were some on the way here. After they looked at it again, they finally understood the situation here. I didn't expect this to be the old site of a powerhouse, Sima Lufeng said. Because they obtained a divine tool, they were besieged by many powerhouses and were destroyed in the end. This divine tool, don't tell me it's the one that your ancestors were talking about, Sima Yue said. What do you mean your ancestors? That's your ancestor too. Sima Lu Yin corrected her seriously. I'm not a member of the Sima family now, Sima Yue said. How are you not? You have the blood of the Sima family flowing in you. You're a member of the Sima family. Sima Lu Yin glared at her. It was his usual fierce look. I'm not in the genealogy, Sima Yue retorted. Sima Lu Yin was speechless. After a moment of silence, he said, You will be there. You will become the most dazzling name in the genealogy. Sima Yue pouted. She didn't care about being in the genealogy. Your father's name is still there. Sima Lu Yin said. Sima Yue was stunned and said, That year, the family didn't remove his name? She thought that after that year, the Sima family would have chased her father out of the family. Not everyone in the Sima family is cold-blooded and heartless. Sima Lu Yin said, All right. Sima Yue shrugged. This news really surprised her. No matter what, that's our family, our roots. Sima Lu Yin said, What about those people who want to kill me? Sima Yue said, Those are enemies, not family. Don't bother. Just deal with them as you should. Sima Lu Yin said, All right then. If someone really comes to find me, I will definitely treat them well. Sima Yue said, You don't have to be merciful. Sima Lu Yin added. What he meant was that there was no need to care about their surname being Sima. They all had the blood of the Sima family flowing in them. Oh. Sima Yue nodded obediently. She was a very obedient child. If uncle said there was no need to be merciful, then there was no need to be merciful. So much so that those who wanted to kill her were all killed by her. She didn't care if that person's position in the family was important or not. Speaking of which, if that divine weapon was the reason for the destruction of this power, is it still here? Sima Lufeng asked. There are murals in front. Deja said. Sima Yue and the rest walked over. The murals were the results of that year's incident. In the murals, the surviving members of that power used their lives to activate the divine weapon. The divine weapon exploded with power and killed everyone who came to invade. From then on, the divine weapon became a piece of scrap metal and disappeared completely. Only a crippled disciple was left behind to paint what happened that year. After looking at the murals, everyone was stunned. The divine weapon is gone? According to the information on the murals, it is indeed so. If the murals were real, then what were they looking for? Did that ancestor of yours cheat you? Deja saw Sima Lufeng and the rest's expression and laughed at their misfortune. Chapter 1195. Not to mention Sima Yue, even Sima Lufeng and the others felt the same way. The information passed down by the ancestors was vague, but the story on the stone wall was more reliable. Could it be that there really isn't any divine artifact? Sima Lufeng said. If that was the case, then wouldn't all their hard work have been in vain? It's not impossible. Sima Lu Yin had just opened his mouth when he heard the sounds of fighting. The intensity of the battle made the entire underground city tremble. Its eldest elder's spirit technique. Sima Lufeng said. Something happened, let's go take a look. After Sima Lu Yin finished speaking, he took the lead and rushed in that direction. You guys wait here. Sima Lufeng instructed Sima Yue and left with Sima Lu Yin. Sima Yue rubbed her nose when she saw how anxious they were. She said, They usually say that they are dissatisfied with the family, but once something happens, they run away faster than anyone else. This was a member of the Sima clan. I told you to wait here. Are you going to wait? Deja asked. When he saw Sima Yue's cunning eyes, he knew that he had asked the wrong question. How could this girl just wait here quietly? Let's go take a look. Sima Yue said. What if something happened to Uncle Lufeng and the rest? What if the divine artifact was really stolen by someone else? Alright, actually the main point was that he didn't say this sentence at the end. Sima Lu Yin and the others wouldn't get hurt so easily. She and Deja walked in the direction of the fight, and soon saw a group of people confronting each other in a huge pit. Sima Lufeng and Sima Lu Yin were shocked when they saw Sima Yue coming over. They wanted to say something, but they couldn't catch up to the person who was flying towards them. Scram! Before Sima Yue could react, the Ghost Master waved his hand and slapped the person flying over to the wall, pretending to be dead. Sima Lu Yin saw how the Ghost Master dealt with a monarch ranked with a single palm strike. and understood that the palm strike he gave him earlier was considered merciful. Sima Yue blinked and asked, "What's going on? Why was he almost caught as soon as he arrived?" Sima Lufeng and Sima Luyan flew over and protected her, saying, "Didn't I tell you not to come over? Let me help you. What if you can't beat them?" Sima Yue said seriously. Sima Luyan and Sima Lufeng looked at her. None of them believed her words. If they still couldn't understand her thoughts, then they would have lived so many years in vain. Sima Yue didn't care whether they believed her or not. In fact, even she didn't believe her own excuse. However, it wasn't a big deal, and she didn't need to keep fussing about it. Who are those people? Why do you want to capture us? She wanted to figure out the current situation first. She had clearly seen that the person wasn't attacking her, but flying towards them. If they hadn't been killed by the Ghost Master, any of them could have been captured. These people can't beat us and can't escape. They want to catch people and throw them at us, to divert the trouble. Sima Luyan said. Who are these people? Sima Yue saw that the Sima family didn't look too good. All of them looked like they had eaten a dead fly. Gu family. Sima Luyan said. Because of a divine weapon, they betrayed the relationship between the two families. Gu family? Sima Yue was stunned. She remembered when she was in Cloud Sea City, she did see Gu family and Sima family together. They were on good terms then. But now, both parties were glaring at each other. Especially the Sima family, they looked hurt. It seemed like their relationship was broken. Didn't they say there was no divine weapon? Sima Yue asked. It's not the one we saw, it's another divine weapon. Sima Luyan said. Although they didn't get the divine weapon, it wasn't bad to get these. It could greatly increase the Sima family's power. When the Sima family came in, the Gu family wasn't with them. But when they met in the underground palace, they didn't chase the Gu family away. But they didn't expect that when they just broke the restriction here, the Gu family didn't hide their wild ambitions and attacked them directly. The Sima family was ambushed and many of them were injured. They became more passive. But they didn't expect Sima Luyan and Sima Lufeng to rush over and kill their two experts, relieving the pressure on the Sima family. After that, Sima Yue came. The Ghost Master made the entire underground palace quiet down, and both parties were in a stalemate. What are you two doing? The Sima family said unhappily when they saw that Sima Luyan and Sima Luyan weren't helping to deal with the Gu family. Instead, they were with people they didn't know. Sima Luyan and Sima Lufeng glanced at each other. Then they moved aside, revealing Sima Yue behind them. Just now, the Sima family didn't notice Sima Yue at all. When they reacted, the Ghost Master had already sent her flying. Sima Luyan and Sima Lufeng blocked her behind them. Now that they saw her face clearly, they gasped when they saw that face that was 70% similar to Yu Kaluo. This is... The Gu family also noticed Sima Yue. They cried out in surprise, Yu Kaluo. This isn't Yu Kaluo. This should be the child from that year. Heavens! Isn't that Sima Luxian's child? The Gu family and Sima family were shocked. They couldn't accept Sima Yue's sudden appearance. Why is she here? That's right. Wasn't she missing? Wasn't she taken away by Sima Luxian? Why is she here? You're the new force's Vice Valley Lord. Eldest Elder said. Previously, when he saw Sima Yue from afar, he only felt that she was familiar. He didn't link her to Yu Kaluo. So, she was actually her. Looking at how Sima Luyan and Sima Lufeng protected her, they had found her long ago. Now is not the time to be curious about my identity. If you can't split those divine tools, why don't you give them to me? This way, you won't have to destroy your friendship of so many years. You can continue to trust and love each other. The three parties were speechless. She actually said something like that. Deja smiled and said, Ghost Master, since cousin wants it, then help her snatch it. But the Ghost Master stood at the same spot and didn't move. Those divine tools don't have much spiritual energy left. They're just a pile of scrap metal now. They're worthless. They don't have any spiritual energy. Sima Yue looked at the divine tools on the wall behind the Sima family. They looked intact, but she didn't expect them to have no spiritual energy left. These spiritual tools should have lost their spiritual energy during the war. Ghost Master said. Maybe this is related to the murals we saw before. Chapter 1196. By the title of the book Current Location. Sima Yue and the others immediately thought of the last mural on the wall. It was painted on the wall that a lot of spiritual energy was extracted from the surroundings when the divine artifact was activated. Perhaps the spiritual energy of these spiritual tools had been sucked dry at that time. One of the reasons why it hadn't rusted after so many years was because it was isolated by those restrictions. How is this possible? The members of the Gu family shouted. If it was just some scrap metal, and they ruined their relationship with the Sima family, then it would not be worth it. No, it should be a huge loss. Are you serious, Ghost Master? Don't scare me. Sima Yue yelled. Because of these things, she was almost used as a guide dog by those people, and was almost disfigured. Now that she was finally here, she was told that these spiritual tools were useless. How frustrating would it be for her? Then, before the Ghost Master could answer her, the spirit tools turned into dust the moment the restriction was destroyed. Previously, the Sima family had only managed to break through a rough part of the restriction. Before they could completely break it, the Gu family had already made their move. However, in the battle just now, their strength had slowly weakened the last bit of the restriction's power. But now, the restriction was completely ineffective. The moment those spirit tools came into contact with the air, they felt a slight vibration and turned into powder. Sima Yue wanted to curse, but when she remembered that she was wearing female clothes, she swallowed her words. At the same time, some other forces also rushed over after hearing the commotion. Many people saw with their own eyes that the spirit weapons had turned into powder. They had only heard the Ghost Master's words on their way here, and knew that they were spiritual weapons. However, they didn't know what these spiritual weapons looked like before. What is going on? Those people cried out loudly, feeling great heartache. No one answered them, nor did they expect anyone to answer. This was because they could roughly guess the reason even without others telling them. The others were fine, but the Gu family and the Sima family were the most upset. The Sima family had been thinking about this for many years, especially when they saw these spiritual weapons as their hope to rise again. Now that it was gone, the Great Elder and the others felt their hearts turn cold. As for the people of the Gu clan, they went for wool and came home shorn. They originally thought that they could obtain those tempting divine artifacts, but not only did they not obtain them, they also offended so many old companions of many years. They now had an enemy that they knew very well. What do we do now? What to do? What else could he do? Now that the items were gone, were they supposed to stay here and watch others fight? The Sima family and the Gu family would definitely not be kind this time. If they stayed, they would probably be implicated for nothing. As a result, the newcomers left. Without the numinous treasure, there was no reason for them to stay. Soon only the Gu family and the Sima family were left. The Sima family quickly occupied the few exits of the underground palace and surrounded the Gu family. Since the item was gone, it was impossible for them to not take revenge for the sneak attack today. You guys leave first. Sima Lu Yun said. We'll look for you after we settle the matters here. Today's battle was inevitable. If she stayed here, she might be accidentally injured. Okay. Sima Yue agreed readily, and went out with Deja and the others. Her purpose of coming here was to snatch the treasure. Now that the treasure was gone, she naturally had no intention of staying. Moreover, this was the Sima family's matter. She did not want to get involved now. When she left, she heard the Gu family saying those regretful words. Unfortunately, it was too late to say anything now. However, they met with trouble outside. At the exit, many forces gathered together. When they saw Sima Yue and Deja coming out, they surrounded them. Ghost Clan, it's your bad luck to meet us today. Hand over your life obediently. Someone shouted. It was like this again. Sima Yue could not help but roll her eyes. Were these old fellows from the inner regions a little stupid? They had not decided when they were outside. Now that they met these old fellows, The first thing they said was to hand over your life obediently and blah blah blah. Was there something wrong with their brains, or was there something wrong with their brain structure? Young lady, you're still young. We'll give you a chance. If you leave now and swear that you'll never be with these people again, we'll spare your life. That's hard to say, Sima Yue said. They were actually blood-related relatives. How could she not interact with them in the future? Young lady, don't be stubborn, someone threatened. We're giving you a chance because you're young. It'll be a pity if you die at such a young age. Thank you for your kindness, Sima Yue said. Unfortunately, I can't agree to your request. So you're saying that you'd rather die than be with them? Then don't blame us for not letting you off. Sima Yue saw the murderous intent in that person's eyes and sneered. You never intended to let me go from the beginning. The murderous intent in your eyes was there from the beginning. Humph, we gave you a chance and you didn't want it. Then you'll die here with them. After that, that person took the lead to attack. He avoided the Ghost Master and Deja and attacked Sima Yue. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Did they think she was easy to bully? Just as she was about to attack, Dilu attacked and quickly took care of that person. Sima Yue felt that the person's gaze was a little different. So after Dilu took care of him, she checked his divine sense. He's actually a descendant of Inzun. Sima Yue saw Inzun in that person's memory. She was speechless. That guy brought her trouble even after he died. The remaining people of this force were taken care of by the Ghost Master in one move. When the others saw this, they were stunned. Scram! The Ghost Master shouted at those people. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. This ghost clan is too powerful. It's better for us to retreat first. Therefore, those people turned around and ran away. But before they could run far, they stopped in their tracks and looked at the sky that had suddenly darkened in horror. This is... With a long howl, those who ran at the front were wrapped up by the black fog. When they appeared again, only a pile of bones was left. Those people were so scared that they ran back. They wanted to avoid the black fog that was getting closer and closer. But they weren't fast enough. Just now they were glad that they ran away in front. Now they regretted it. Help. People were constantly being eaten by the black fog. Bones were constantly being spat out. The scene was terrifying. Sima Yue was also frightened. Seeing this horrifying scene, she asked, Cousin, is this something from the Ghost Clan? And _s equals point. And IP equals. And _s equals GBK. And D equals tanks SMM _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 53968 And _s equals true. And _s //p/x M _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 53968 inch. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h tanks _h _s tanks _h and _s equals point. And IP equals and _s equals GBK. And D equals tanks SMM _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 5398285 and _s equals true. And _s //p/x M _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 5398285 inch. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h tanks _h _s tanks _h and _s equals point. And IP equals and _s equals GBK. And D equals tanks SMM _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 5398286 and _s equals true. And _s //p/x M _ 1005796 _ 1355667 _ 5398286 inch. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h tanks _h _s tanks _h. Remember after reading, for next time or Transmigration fan. Strives to create what girls love to see and provide the best for girls. Chapter 1197. Deja, who had always answered her questions, remained silent this time. Sima Yue turned to look at him. His expression was even more shocked than when he saw the swarm of bloodbats. How? Before she could finish her second sentence, Deja pulled her towards the underground palace. The two of them went in first, followed by Di Lu and the Ghost Master. As soon as the Ghost Master entered, he covered the underground palace with a barrier. Only 3 to 5 of the people who ran over came in. The rest were locked outside by the enchantment. Let us in. Let us in. Please let us in. Help. The people outside screamed in despair, but the Ghost Master had no intention of letting them in. Sima Yue stood at the back. She had no intention of pleading for anyone. It was not that she was cold-blooded, but the people who had gone out first had already left. The reason why they did not leave was because they had chosen to stay and kill Deja and her. Facing the people who wanted to kill her, and facing such a dangerous situation, she wasn't so naive as to beg the Ghost Master to open the wizardry barrier without caring about her and Deja's safety. Let us in. Let us in. Those people were still shouting crazily. Some of them saw that there was no hope of entering, and could only turn their attention to dealing with the unknown creature. The others continued to run, but they stopped after 2 steps because the black fog extended and turned into a circle that surrounded the place. Sima Yue finally understood why Deja and the rest did not bring her to the back, but chose to come to the underground palace. However, this wasn't a stable method. Otherwise, the Ghost Master wouldn't have protected this place with a barrier. What the hell is this? This should be the blood demon, Deja said. I didn't expect a blood demon to form here. No wonder the blood bat escaped. Is this blood demon really that powerful? Sima Yue was speechless. Even the blood bats were afraid of the blood demon. What kind of terrifying existence was that? Yes, we are completely powerless in front of it, Deja said with a pale face. If we knew there was a blood demon here, we wouldn't have come to the Wonderland. It can be said that seeing it is like seeing the god of death. Is that a nether beast? Sima Yue asked. It can't be considered a nether beast. It can only be considered a dark spirit beast. This kind of thing could take shape in the ghost realm and the devil realm. It could also travel through the 3 realms at will. No matter who it was, even if it was a supremacy, they would have no chance of winning against it. Only an imperial emperor would be able to fight it, Deja explained. So powerful. Sima Yue took a deep breath. The emperor had not appeared for many years, but now such a powerful being had appeared. If it leaves this place and goes outside, then won't the entire continent be swallowed up by it? Deja and the Ghost Master didn't say anything, silently agreeing with her words. No matter where this thing went, it would bring disaster to the entire continent. Has this kind of thing appeared before? Yes, it was said that it appeared once in the ancient times. That time, the various realms suffered heavy losses and countless people died. However, at that time there were many imperial emperors, so this thing was destroyed in the end. Ghost Master said. And now, there wasn't a single imperial emperor. The human, devil and ghost realms were in a precarious situation. Fortunately, this thing hasn't fully grown yet. If a few half-step imperial emperors attack together, they can destroy it. Half-step imperial emperors were people who were half a step away from becoming an imperial emperor. Other than the Ghost King and the Devil King, there were no others. Of course, this didn't mean that there weren't any. It was just that they kept a low profile and didn't spread. No matter how many people in this world became half-step imperial emperors, it was impossible for them to rush here to deal with this thing. What happened? The Sima family and the Gu family who hadn't been completely destroyed ran out. They were fighting just now, but when they heard the commotion outside, they decided to stop fighting temporarily and came out to see what was going on. The Sima family originally wanted to fight to the end. The betrayal of the Gu family this time made them furious. They didn't want to let anyone go. However, the Gu family was right. If something big really happened, they could deal with it together. Yue, didn't you guys go out? Why are you still here? Sima Lufeng saw Sima Yue and walked over to ask. Sima Yue turned around and looked at Sima Lufeng and Sima Lu Yun. Her face was pale as she said, "We're in big trouble." "What trouble?" Sima Yue repeated what the Ghost Master said. The Sima family and the Gu family were shocked too. Damn, didn't they just come to look for treasure? Why did they encounter such a terrifying thing? Ah! The last scream came from the people outside. When the people in the underground palace saw the situation outside, they were shocked by the scene. No matter how scary Sima Yue said it wasn't as shocking as seeing it with their own eyes. Whoosh whoosh. The whistling of the wind came from outside. It wasn't as sharp as the beast's roar, but it made everyone in the underground palace tremble. It was a kind of mental torture. It was much scarier than fighting a spirit beast. How long can your spirit barrier last? Great Elder asked. It's eroding my spirit barrier. Based on the current situation, it can last for half an hour at most. Ghost Master said. Half an hour. In other words, they only had half an hour left? Why don't we reinforce it together? Someone from the Gu family suggested. Everyone looked at him as if they were looking at an idiot. Ghost Master was from the Ghost clan. Everyone's spirit energy clashed with his. If you help him, wouldn't you be doing more harm than good? That person also reacted. He was a little embarrassed and didn't say anything else. Don't tell me we don't have any other way? There was an endless silence with a deep sense of despair. Ghost Master, don't tell me. Di-Lu looked at the Ghost Master. He hoped that he could give an answer. But the Ghost Master could only shake his head. Was there really no other way? Silence swallowed everyone's time and hope. Ah! One of the people who came in after the Ghost Master couldn't help but scream under the pressure of this despairing atmosphere. Are we really going to die here? Another person cried. In the face of such an existence, they didn't even have the strength to resist. They could only watch helplessly as death approached them. Shut up. Sima Yue was annoyed by their crying and shouted at them. That domineering look stunned everyone else. Was this the kind of aura that a little girl would have? Sima Yue ignored their gazes. She went to the Ghost Master and asked, Ghost Master, dark things are afraid of fire and lightning. What about this thing? Is it afraid? Chapter 1198. Crazy Wife. Fifth Miss of the Divine Doctor. Chapter 1198. The Divine Vermilion Bird appears. Chapter 1198. The Divine Vermilion Bird appears. Author. Fan Guma. Chapter 1198. The Divine Vermilion Bird appears. Come from. The Ghost Master's eyes lit up when he saw Sima Yue. Fire and lightning are indeed the nemesis of this thing, but because its existence is too strong, normal fire and lightning attributes are useless against it. However, if it's that flame of yours, there's still a chance. How could he forget about her flames? However, what Sima Yue wanted was not the possibility of taking a gamble. Ghost Master, if my flames are combined with the lightning tribulation, will we have a chance of winning? Lightning tribulation? The Ghost Master was stunned. If there really is a lightning tribulation, it will definitely work with your flames. But now, there is no lightning tribulation at all. How could a lightning tribulation descend at this time? However, Sima Yue was not worried about that. She turned around to look at the Great Elder and the others, saying, If I can save your lives, are you willing to swear that you won't take advantage of others to harm me and the Ghost Clansmen? The Great Elder didn't expect her to make such a request. After a moment of silence, he said, All right, I agree. I want everyone here to agree, Sima Yue said. And what I'm saying is, it's not that you won't hurt us now, but you won't do it in the future. If you can resolve this crisis, it's not impossible to agree to your request. The Great Elder said. He didn't have the idea of killing her and Sima Luxian. If she could save them, there was no loss in agreeing to this. Sima Yue glanced at the others and said, What about you guys? To be able to save their own lives, they couldn't even beg for it, so who would have any other thoughts? All of them hurriedly nodded in agreement. Remember your words. Sima Yue said as she walked out. Ghost Master, I'm preparing to go out. When the lightning strikes, I'm afraid your enchantment will. Deja grabbed her and said, What are you doing? Do you know how dangerous it is outside? Cousin, how long do you think Ghost Master's barrier can last? Sima Yue asked. He was worried about himself. His hands were trembling, conveying his feelings to her. To be honest, she wasn't 100% sure that she would be able to escape, but she didn't want to sit here and wait for death. However, she felt that there was hope for her. Since humans could not deal with it, then let the heavenly Tao deal with it. Deja held her hand and refused to let go. He did not want her to go out and take the risk. Cousin. Sima Yue looked at him and smiled. Don't worry, I'll be back. You guys have to hide in there for a while. You can come out after everything is settled outside. Cousin, we don't have time. Sima Yue looked at him with determination. Master, don't worry. That flame of hers, even if it doesn't kill that thing, she will be able to come back. Ghost Master said. But when that time comes, there was no need for her to come back. Because his barrier would not be able to last until then. Coming back here would not be a safe place anymore. Deja knew about Sima Yue's flame. He let go of her and said, Be careful. Sima Yue came to the side of the barrier. Ghost Master was about to open the barrier and let her out, but he saw her calling out Little Roar and fusing with it. The Sima family recognized the spirit technique she used and said in shock, She actually knows how to fuse. Sima Lufeng, did you teach her? Sima Luyun and Sima Lufeng were also shocked because they didn't teach her any spirit techniques. We found her at the Cloud Sea City's alchemy competition. Do you think that her mastery of fusion started from that time? The Sima clansmen fell silent, because that was impossible. She's Lu Xian's child. Even if she didn't grow up in the family, what's so strange about knowing all these? Sima Lufeng continued. But she's only 30 over years old now. I wonder how much the younger generation in the family have grown when they're 30 over years old? Eldest elder, and the rest went silent. Not to mention the younger generation now, even in the past, there wasn't such a heaven-defying person. Now that those divine weapons were gone, if she could return to the family, it wouldn't be impossible to revive the family. Thinking of this, the way he looked at Sima Yue changed. The others also thought of this. Everyone had different expressions. Sima Luyun and Sima Lufeng noticed their changes and didn't say anything. They had to think through these things by themselves. If they could accept her, then her return to the family would be just around the corner. The premise was that they could get through this crisis safely. The outside of the underground palace was completely shrouded by the blood devil. The entire sky was dark as if it was covered by a black curtain. Everyone watched as she left the spirit barrier. They were worried that she would be swallowed by the blood devil. Everyone's heart tightened. Deja and Sima Lufeng were worried about her. Eldest elder was afraid that the family would lose a genius and lose the chance to revive. The others were afraid that if she died, their hope of survival would be extinguished. The moment she left the spirit barrier, her body emitted a scorching golden flame. The black fog around her was burned clean, and a human-shaped space appeared. What a powerful flame! The people in the underground palace shouted. Even though they were so far away, they could feel the heat of the flame. It meant that its temperature was very high. Such a powerful flame might really be able to deal with the blood devil. Hoo! A strong wind blew around the flame. The whistling sound was even more intense than before. The blood devil was irritable. Sima Yue felt a force swallowing Crimson Flame's power. She looked at the sky and said, Crimson Flame, I'll have to trouble you this time. I need a few minutes. A figure separated from Sima Yue's body. After he came out, his body was also wrapped in flames. Suddenly his body moved. He flew into the sky and transformed into his original form. He flew towards the place where the black fog was the thickest. The opponent was too strong. Transforming into his original form made him even stronger. He could stall for more time. Chirp. A long chirp sounded. The people in the underground palace felt an immense pressure. Is this a phoenix? No, this is not a phoenix. Ghost Master looked at Crimson Flame in a daze. This is a divine bird. Vermilion bird. Everyone in the underground palace was stunned. They actually saw the divine vermilion bird. The divine bird that existed in legends. No wonder her flame was so powerful. It was because of it. The black fog retreated and focused on dealing with Crimson Flame. Sima Yue stood in the same place. She began to move the top-grade purple lightning in her body. She let it attract the lightning tribulation. The tribulation cloud was sleeping in the sky. It was the most leisurely guarding here. Suddenly, it felt that someone was summoning it. It immediately became alert. It's that guy again. Originally, it didn't want to go, but it felt that there was something there that violated the laws of heaven and earth. So it could only sit on the tribulation cloud and go. Only represents the views of the author, Fan Gumu. If any content is found to be against the laws of the country, please, we will delete it immediately. Fan Gumu is committed to providing a healthy and green reading platform. Thank you everyone. Chapter 1198. The Divine Vermilion Bird appears. Chapter 1199. Sima Yue looked up at the sky. Why did she feel that the lightning tribulation this time was especially slow? It had already been a few minutes, but the lightning tribulation still hadn't come. Could it be that her top-grade purple lightning was useless here? Then wouldn't they have to give up their lives here today? She felt a chill down her spine. This was even scarier than being struck by lightning. 20 minutes had passed. The lightning tribulation still hadn't come. And Crimson Flame couldn't hold on any longer. Although his strength had recovered quite a bit, he was still injured, and he was facing such a strong opponent. It was already good that he could hold on for so long. Could it be that this move really didn't work? Yu let Qingyi out. Little Seven said to her in Spirit Pagoda. Qingyi, isn't he unable to make a move casually? If it was a normal situation, I wouldn't be able to make a move, but this has already exceeded that. Qingyi said. Sima Yue considered that he couldn't make a move casually, and not that they would have a chance to live just because he was willing to help. This made him feel touched. Sima Yue heard that there was no problem, so she quickly called Qingyi out. Once Qingyi came out, his body emitted a faint golden light, forming a golden halo. When the black fog touched the halo, it immediately made a buzzing sound, then disappeared. Then he formed a seal with both hands. A small tree of life flew out from his chest, then slowly became bigger, forcing the black fog away. What a dense life aura. What is that? Someone from Gu family shouted. Ghost Master and the rest guessed Qingyi's identity. Sima Yue once said that she was enlightened under the tree of life, but they didn't expect her to take the entire tree of life away. Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng guessed it too, but they didn't plan to say it out. But they still recognized it, as the great elder of the Sima family. His knowledge wasn't something that ordinary people could compare to. Tree of Life, the legendary Tree of Life, he muttered. Now he couldn't use the word shock to describe his feelings. Tree of Life. This is the legendary Tree of Life that can help people enlighten and increase their strength. The people beside the great elder heard him and shouted out in shock. That's right, it's it. It is exactly the same as what the ancient book said. The great elder said with certainty. The Tree of Life. This was a genuine Tree of Life, and not those who roam trees outside. Not only did she have the legendary vermilion bird, she also had the legendary Tree of Life. How many unknown secrets did she have? I didn't expect something like this to form here. I wonder what this thunder tribulation is for. If the higher-ups knew about this, would you still be able to sleep so peacefully here? Qingyi seemed to be talking to himself, but it made the thunder tribulations that were rushing over shudder and speed up. When Sima Yue saw the tribulation cloud approaching, her worried heart finally calmed down. When the tribulation cloud was about to descend, she kept Qingyi and Qi Yan back, and faced the tribulation cloud alone. When the blood demon saw the tribulation cloud, it wanted to escape, but it was locked on by the tribulation cloud. It couldn't leave at all. It only moved a little bit, but it was just enough to push Dijia and the others out of the range of the lightning tribulation. This was something that Sima Yue didn't expect. She was still worried that it would implicate them, but now it was a lucky hit. Maybe it was because of Qing Yi's words. If the higher-ups knew that something like this was formed in its range, the punishment it would face would definitely not be something that it could bear. So it had to kill it here. The thunder tribulations continued to descend. That destructive aura made everyone who was watching from afar shocked. If this were to strike a human, would they be able to bear it? Everyone was terrified when they thought about it. Even if they were so powerful now, they were still in awe of the thunder tribulations. If this thunder tribulations were to strike Yue, would she be able to bear it? Sima Lufeng said worriedly. They had never seen Sima Yue go through a tribulation. Seeing the power of the thunder tribulations, they were so scared that their faces turned white. If anything were to happen to her, they would blame themselves to death. The Great Elder and the others were also heartbroken. If such a heaven-defying genius died, it would be a loss to the clan. After 1 to 2 hours, the thunder tribulations were still striking. The others who were initially shocked were now numb. The people outside were very worried, but Sima Yue inside was very confused. Was there something wrong with this thunder tribulations? In the past, this fellow had always struck her. This time she was the one who attracted the thunder tribulations. Now that she was standing here, it seemed as if it didn't see her at all. This was the first time in history. Seeing that the thunder tribulations was so happy and she had nothing to do, she simply took out a chair and sat down, watching it strike slowly. Top-grade purple lightning emerged from her body and wanted to snatch the food, but it was caught by Sima Yue. Not this time. She used her spiritual energy to trap it and said, "The thing that it's striking this time is very powerful. You can't snatch it. If it's not enough, we'll be in trouble." Top-grade purple lightning twisted unhappily in the spiritual energy ball. It didn't care if it was enough or not, it just wanted to eat. Sima Yue saw that it was about to break her spiritual energy ball. With a thought, she threw it into the spirit pagoda. Inside it really couldn't come out. Top-grade purple lightning was very angry. This woman actually dared to lock it inside. It was angry, very angry. Once it was angry, it couldn't control the energy in its body. Hence, a sky full of lightning struck down. Luckily, Little Spirit reacted quickly, and immediately moved the top-grade purple lightning to a place where there was no one. After it had vented its anger, there was only a mess left. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This little fellow's temper was quite big. It wasn't even as cute as Cloud Spirit. Speaking of Cloud Spirit, she was starting to miss it. Top-grade purple lightning in the spirit pagoda sensed her thoughts, and its heart that had just calmed down became irritable again. Wasn't it just an ordinary tribulation cloud? How was it cute? It was a few hundred times more powerful than those ordinary tribulation clouds. This woman had no taste. Sima Yue didn't care about it. It could strike as much as it wanted. Anyway, there were many barren mountains. It could strike as much as it wanted. Top-grade purple lightning struck for a long time, but Sima Yue didn't seem to have any intention of paying attention to it. Suddenly it quietened down. It was fine if this fellow continued to strike. Now that it stopped, why was it so depressed? Woo-woo, 2 black lines slid down Sima Yue's face. This fellow had struck for a day and a night and destroyed so many of her things. She didn't even cry. Why was this fellow crying? Wawa, no one cared about it. It cried even harder. With this sadness, the energy in its body couldn't be controlled again. Chapter 1200. Sima Yue could not understand this little fellow. Seeing it crying helplessly in this vast and empty place, her heart softened. She sent her divine sense in and came to its side. She stared at it without saying a word. Boo-hoo. Top-grade purple lightning looked at Sima Yue pitifully. Why did she take so long to come? This little fellow had not even succeeded in transforming. It looked like a blurry figure. Only its eyes were well developed. They were big and round. With a pitiful look in its eyes, it was indeed quite cute. Although Sima Yue was captivated by its cuteness, her face was still cold. This fellow was very arrogant. If she coaxed it now, It would probably fly into the sky in the future. Do you know your mistake? Boo-hoo. Top-grade purple lightning did not speak. It only cried. This fellow did not coax it when it saw it crying. It only knew how to look at it with a cold face. The more it thought about it, the sadder it became. The sadder it was, the harder it was to control the spiritual energy in its body. Then, the surrounding lightning struck even harder. Pa! A bolt of lightning struck Sima Yue, almost dispersing her divine sense. Sima Yue's face darkened. She was not struck outside, but in her own territory, she was struck instead. Top-grade purple lightning was stunned and forgot to cry. Are you happy now? If you are, then keep your power. The spirit pagoda is almost destroyed by you. Isn't that because you locked me in here? Top-grade purple lightning retorted. If you had listened to me, would I have locked you in here? I know that you have always thought that you are very powerful as top-grade purple lightning. That's why you have always looked down on me. So when you have transformed, I will not stop you if you want to leave. I want a companion, not a master that I have to serve. Sima Yue said. If you haven't struck enough, then continue. After all, this might be the last time you come here. With that, she prepared to leave. Top-grade purple lightning on the other side cried. That earth-shattering look was as if it had been wronged. You're the one who brought me here, and now you're saying that you don't want me anymore. Sima Yue's mouth twitched when she heard its complaint. She saw that the surrounding mountains had been turned into black charcoal. Tears streamed down her face. She was probably feeling really wronged. She sighed and went up to pick it up, saying, You're not allowed to chop it, and you're not allowed to cry. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder sucked in a breath of air, and as expected, stopped crying. In the end, because he had retracted it too quickly, he began to hiccup. I'm cuter than Cloud Spirit, and I'm also stronger than it. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder burped. You're the one who doesn't like it. You always want to leave when you grow up, Sima Yue said. I'm just thinking about it. I don't really want to leave. The little fellow's arrogance subsided as he curled up in her embrace. But you didn't treat me as a partner. That's why I told you to leave. Then I won't think about it in the future. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder said, feeling wronged. So you have to listen to me in the future? Yes. Do you still want to strike? No more. Then when you get out, will you listen to me? I won't snatch it then. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder snorted. Even if I don't snatch it, that fellow won't be able to chop it to death. It will even succeed in passing the tribulation and be truly recognized by the heavens and earth. You know? I knew it the moment I saw them. If you can't chop it to death, then what should we do? Sima Yue asked. The best way is to keep it, top-grade purple heavenly thunder said. Then can we take advantage of the fact that its body is weak after the tribulation to kill it? It's not impossible if you want to, Sima Yue said. But it's not that easy to kill it. But are you stupid? It's such a good thing. Why don't you keep it? Why kill it? It's such a dangerous thing. If I can't control it and it recoils in the future, then I'll be the sinner of mankind, Sima Yue said. Although I've always felt that those people have nothing to do with me, if I implicate innocent people, I'll also be burdened with sin. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder thought for a while. That seems to be the case. But with me around, it definitely won't be able to recover. Sima Yue patted its head. This little guy's arrogant look was actually not bad. It seems like it's almost finished outside. Little Spirit's voice sounded. Then let's go out and take a look. Sima Yue carried top-grade purple heavenly thunder out. The tribulation lightning outside was indeed coming to an end. Although the black fog had already dispersed, the aura in the air had not completely dispersed. Sima Yue found a spirit beast that looked like a big black dog in the big hole that was created by the lightning. It was covered in wounds, but it was still hanging on to its last breath. She carefully approached it, but the blood devil did not have any reaction. This fellow really didn't die. She squatted down and used crimson flames to envelop herself, carefully examining it. Useless fellow. Top-grade purple heavenly thunder glanced at the tribulation cloud in the sky. Because of its negligence, such a creature actually formed here. Now that it had not fully formed, it actually could not kill it. It was too useless. Should we deal with this thing now? Sima Yue asked. It seems a bit of a pity to kill it directly. Why don't you form a contract with it? Top-grade Purple Heavenly Thunder said. Don't you have the dark attribute? If you can form a contract with Little Dream and the others, you can form a contract with this one. But this one looks very strong. If I form a contract with it, will it be able to suppress it? Sima Yue was a bit hesitant. I don't want to be counterattacked by this fellow and become its slave. With me around, it won't be able to even think about it. Top-grade Purple Heavenly Thunder said confidently. Besides, Crimson Flame will suppress it. Sima Yue was still a bit worried, so she asked Crimson Flame again. You want to keep it? Crimson Flame was not surprised by her idea. With her personality, she would not let go of this opportunity. I have this idea, but I'm hesitating. Sima Yue said. It might be useful when we go to the ghost realm in the future. Crimson Flame came outside and looked at the dying blood demon on the ground. He frowned and said, Why can't I feel the power in its body? It seems like it. Top-grade Purple Heavenly Thunder went over and electrocuted the blood demon, but did not feel any power. How can this be? Sima Yue put her hand on the blood demon's body, and indeed did not feel any spiritual energy waves. Could it be that the Heavenly Thunder did not kill it, but turned it into a useless thing? Sima Yue guessed. That's not possible. Crimson Flame denied. There are usually only two possibilities in this situation. Which two? One is that its spiritual energy was destroyed, turning it into a useless thing. But this kind of thing usually does not last until the end. What about the other one? The other is that the Heavenly Thunder could not kill it, but it could not tolerate it harming the human world, so it used the power of the Heavenly Tao to seal its power. Chapter 1201. It was sealed. Sima Yue was speechless as she looked at the large black dog. He wanted it only because of its strength. Now that its strength was gone, did he have to kill it? Red Flame saw through her thoughts and said, You can't kill it either. Why? If it's really sealed by the Heavenly Tao, then it's immortal. Qi Yan explained. Unless it commits suicide, it won't die. Only by breaking the seal can an external force kill it. Sima Yue seemed to understand and said, Is this the so-called restriction and protection? Something like that. Qi Yan said. So, what do you plan to do? This is a little tricky. Sima Yue said. Is it possible for this guy to break the seal in the future? Maybe, maybe not. We can't predict that. Qi Yan said. Those people are coming over. You should make a decision as soon as possible. Sima Yue focused, and indeed heard the sound of those people approaching. Only then did she notice that the tribulation cloud had already left. Yue, are you okay? Sima Lu Yun and the others flew over. When they saw Sima Yue in the pit, they were surprised at her current state. You weren't struck by lightning? Sima Lu Feng saw that she didn't have any injuries at all as he asked in shock. I'm fine. Sima Yue stood up and said, The tribulation cloud is busy today. It doesn't have time to strike me. It's good that you're fine. Sima Lu Yun and his brother heaved a sigh of relief. They were so worried just now. Deja and the Ghost Master came later because they were afraid of the power of the lightning punishment. Seeing that Sima Yue was fine, they were relieved. Cousin, did the lightning tribulation really not strike you? Sima Yue nodded. Seeing that there were only 5 of them and no one else, she asked, Where are the others? Eldest Elder and the others are taking care of those Gu clansmen. The Gu clansmen wanted to take advantage of the chaos to escape. Sima Lu Yun continued. Looking at them, they won't be able to come over anytime soon. That's great. We can discuss this matter. Sima Yue said. What's wrong? Did Blood Devil not die? Dilu asked. Sima Yue shrugged and glanced at the guy on the ground. He's not dead, but he's sealed. Everyone present was knowledgeable. Once she said that, everyone understood what was going on. If I can't kill him, should I just let him go? It's impossible to deal with it so casually. Sima Lu Yun continued. If it were to break the seal one day, the entire world would be in danger. Then what should we do? Keep it with me all the time? That's not realistic. They couldn't possibly do nothing every day and just watch this fellow. Sima Lufeng glanced at Deja and said, "Why don't you form a contract with it?" No. Before Deja could say anything, the Ghost Master rejected him. "Isn't this a dark spirit beast? Why can't I form a contract?" Sima Lufeng didn't understand. Although this blood demon has been sealed, who knows when the seal will be lifted? It's fine if it's willing to recognize Master as its master. If it's not willing, it'll backfire on the contract. I don't need to tell you how dangerous it will be for Master. Ghost Master said. No matter what, he wouldn't agree to this suggestion. This won't work, that won't work. What should we do with this big black dog? That, I wanted to form a contract with it. Why don't I form a contract with it? Sima Yue continued. Even if it regains its strength one day, it won't be a threat to me. Everyone was silent. They knew that she could attract lightning and had the vermilion bird. Letting her form a contract with it should be the best way. Will it be dangerous? Deja was still worried. Little Purple said that it can suppress the blood demon. It should be fine. Sima Yue said. No wonder Yin Lin said that you would save the world. Sima Lufeng sighed. Sima Yue went to form a contract before those people came. I hope that this matter won't spread. Crimson Flame looked at them. You humans are too complicated. If they know about this, I'm afraid it will bring her trouble. And she doesn't have the time and energy to deal with this. We naturally understand this. Sima Luyan continued. We will tell everyone that the blood demon has been destroyed by the lightning. That's good. Sima Yue came to the blood demon's side and placed her hand on its body. She injected dark spirit energy into its body. Woo. The blood demon opened its eyes and looked at her. Its big eyes were clean and pure. It looked like a pure and kind spirit beast. One couldn't tell that it was an existence that could destroy heaven and earth. Sima Yue touched its hair and said, Be good, follow me. We'll eat RR together. Woo. The blood demon whimpered. She didn't know if it was responding to her. She used the method of forming a contract with Little Dream to form a contract with the blood demon. She didn't know if it was because it was sealed. Although the contract was successful, her strength didn't increase. Woo-woo. The power of the contract healed the wounds on the blood demon's body. Its hair became brighter and more energetic. Woo-woo. The blood demon ran to her side. It rubbed its head against her body and acted coquettishly. Sima Yue thought about the way it killed people. Although she couldn't see it clearly, it still gave her a horrifying feeling. Looking at its current appearance, it was hard to link the two together. After a while, the people from the Sima family came over. Sima Yue just finished her contract and was playing with the blood demon. The blood demon has been killed? Eldest Elder asked. Yes, it has been destroyed by the lightning. Sima Luyan said. Really? Eldest Elder glanced at the blood demon who was playing with Sima Yue. He had some doubts in his heart. Then he dismissed the idea. Such a cute spirit beast. It shouldn't be the blood demon. And it didn't have any spirit energy fluctuation. It didn't have that terrifying aura just now. Yue, are you okay? He looked at Sima Yue with concern. Sima Yue glanced at him faintly. She said indifferently, I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. Eldest Elder was a little embarrassed. She spoke so warmly to Sima Lufeng and the rest. She spoke so coldly to him. He was the clan's eldest elder. Sima Yue saw that he was standing beside her without moving. She said, Is there anything, eldest elder? Nothing. Eldest elder smiled again. Why don't I see your contract, beast? Are you talking about Crimson Flame? He's a little tired. He went back to rest. Sima Yue said. But Qingyi wants to see you. Qingyi? Was it the Tree of Life? The people from the Sima family were happy. Were they? With a thought, Qingyi appeared in front of everyone. Before they could speak, Qingyi waved his hand. A ray of light flashed into everyone's body. What are you doing? Eldest Elder shouted. He didn't know what entered his body. Chapter 1202. You don't have to worry. This is just a restriction that I placed on you. Chingy said. This restriction usually doesn't affect you at all. But once you want to talk about me, the restriction will be activated. The first time, you won't be able to do it. The second time, it will take your lives. The expressions of the great elder and the others changed again and again. Was this really them? I can't tell anyone? Someone asked. You can't tell anyone. Chingy glanced at Sima Yue after he finished speaking, and Sima Yue kept him back into the spirit pagoda. She then said to Sima Lu Feng, Uncle Lu Yin, Uncle Lu Feng, since there's nothing else here, I'll leave with my cousin first. Aren't you guys coming with us? The Grand Elder asked. No, we still have things to do. Sima Yue rejected directly. What's the matter? Can we help? The Great Elder asked with a smile. It's so dangerous here and there are so few of you. It's too dangerous. That's fine. Sima Yue said. This is our business, we can't implicate you. Don't worry, you are a member of the Sima family. The family will naturally share your burden, the Great Elder said. Sima Yue sneered in her heart. She was from the Sima family? She had never thought of that. Great Elder, you must be joking. I'm not a member of the Sima family. I'm just someone from the lower continent. How would I dare to claim connections with the Sima family? Don't you think I don't deserve your praise? The blood of the Sima family flows in your veins. You are a member of the Sima family, the Great Elder said firmly. No matter what happened in the past, the bloodline in your body cannot be changed. Really? I heard that someone wanted to kill me. Sima Yue said. If they're from the same family, shouldn't they love each other? Who dares to kill you? I'll definitely report to the family head and find out all those people. The Great Elder said. Not yet, but I heard that when I was a baby, I almost lost my life a few times after I returned home. Great Elder, did you know about those things? Sima Yue said. The Great Elder's smile froze. That time when those things happened, the family was in a mess. Maybe someone took the chance to do it. However, I assure you that such a thing will never happen again. We'll talk about the future. Sima Yue said to Sima Yue. Sima Yue to Sima, but Sima Yue to leave to go to Sima Yue. To Sima's why she to Sima. T Sima to Seemit. Teet the Great Elder sighed. It's hard to say now. The family shouldn't have any objections. Sima Lu Yin and Sima Lu Feng heard what he said and felt disdainful. Those people in the family couldn't wait to be happy, why would they have any opinions? But she's suffered a lot these few years, it's not easy for her to accept the family. Sima Lu Feng said. When we found out about her, we were all moved, saying that we've personally experienced her. You've already found out about her? Yes, we've already sent people to check on her. Sima Lu Feng said. Oh. Then tell us about her, the more detailed the better. That way, when we return to the family, we'll be able to convince the others. The Great Elder said. We've already sorted out all those things. Sima Lu Yin took out a thick stack of papers. These are all things that happened to her in the past. You will understand after reading it. Those so-called geniuses in the clan are nothing compared to her. The Great Elder took a look. He only skimmed the first few pages, but it still shocked him to his core. These are all the things she did. This is unbelievable. Is this really something that a young person can do? If you don't want to, you can send people to check on it. Anyway, the things she did can't be covered up by anyone. Sima Lu Yin said. The Great Elder didn't, but he did think so in his heart. He would definitely send people to check on it later, to see if she really did it. If she did, then her talent. Great Elder, the environment here is so dangerous. She doesn't want everyone to follow her. Why don't you let me and Lu Yin find her? Sima Lu Feng said. If anything happens, we can protect her. The Great Elder was silent for a while. Then he said, Go ahead. You must protect her safety and let her leave this place safely. We will. After speaking, the two of them flew towards the direction Sima Yue left. Sima Yue and Deja left together. They didn't know if the direction they were heading towards was their destination. They just went in a random direction to avoid the Sima family. Sima Lufeng and Sima Luyun caught up. Sima Yue wasn't surprised. Since they said they would protect her, they wouldn't leave halfway. What are you doing? Which direction are you going? She asked the others. No. Sima Lufeng said. Adija, aren't you from the ghost clan too? You should know where there are more ghosts, right? Quite a few words. This isn't the ghost realm, where am I? Dija said. We came here based on the information passed down from the past. We don't know if it's real or not. Where do you want to know? Where do you need us to do it? Don't we have it here for you to ask? Di Lu looked at Blood Devil who was in Sima Yue's arms. Everyone's gaze shifted to it. He can't even tell her. Can he bring us to the center of the ancient battlefield? We can't say for sure this little guy is real. Sima Luyun said. Yue, ask it and see if it knows. All right. Sima Yue carried Blood Devil. She asked, do you have a lot of ghosts? Blood Devil blinked. As if it didn't understand what she said, she repeated it twice. Woo woo. Blood Devil rubbed Sima Yue's hand, then turned its head towards a direction and barked twice, telling them that there were a lot of ghosts there. It's so cute like this. If it goes out like this, no one will be able to guess its identity. Sima Lufeng said. I can feel that its body is sealed. Sima Yue said. It seems like it's really sealed by the heavenly Tao. It was done by a member of Small Talk Network. Chapter 1203. She looked at the silly puppy in front of her and felt extremely helpless. He clearly wanted a blood demon who could dominate the world, but in the end, this was the result. She didn't know if it could break the seal in the future, so she didn't have much hope now. I'll just treat it like I'm keeping a dog by my side. When the dog grinned, its sharp teeth didn't look like a dog's at all. They flew in the direction pointed out by the blood demon. Along the way, they encountered many spatial cracks and spatial holes. If it wasn't for Sima Yue and Chongming leading the way, they would have been in deep trouble. The closer they got to the center, the more dangerous it was, and the slower they got. After walking for a few months, they finally arrived at the center of the ancient battlefield. We're finally here. Sima Lufeng sighed. Suddenly, he felt a suction force pulling him to the side. Be careful. Dija was standing right next to him. When he saw him falling to the side, he pulled him back out of reflex. Sima Lufeng was pulled over and away from the spatial hole. The suction force on his body then disappeared. Uncle Lufeng, are you all right? Sima Yue looked at Sima Lufeng with concern. His arm was already bleeding, and his clothes had been reduced to strips of cloth, revealing the mangled flesh inside. Some of the wounds were so deep that his bones could be seen. It's nothing. Sima Lufeng took out a pill and ate it, then changed out of his jacket. Thank you for just now. It was just a reflex. I never thought of saving you. Dija said coldly. The results are the same, so I still have to thank you. Sima Lufeng said. There was clearly no loophole there just now. Now that it suddenly appeared, it means that the spatial loophole here is moving. Sima Yue said. Uncle Luyun, cousin, it's better if you don't go in. I'll go in alone. Can you do it alone? Dija was a little uncertain, but they also knew that the space inside was getting more and more complicated. If they went in, they would only be a burden. Although they were very strong, it was useless in such an environment. In this place, avoiding those spaces was the way to go. Strength was nothing. However, they weren't as sensitive to space as she was, so they couldn't even say it out loud. Put us in the little realm then. Sima Lufeng said. If we really encounter anything, we can still come out and lend a hand. If they let her go alone, they would not be at ease. Sima Yue knew that this was the best compromise. She nodded and said, all right. But I don't know how much time this will take. If it takes too long, it will delay your search for the opportunity. We came here to collect souls. Dija said. No matter how long you stay, it won't affect us. Us too. Sima Lufeng said. Those opportunities aren't as important as your safety. Sima Yue was so touched that she pursed her lips and said, okay. I'll finish it as soon as possible. Be careful. I will. She took out a small door, opened the little realm, and let them in. Then she called out Chongming, and the two of them walked to the center together. Without anyone else around, their speed had indeed increased by quite a bit. Soon, they were nearing the central region. They couldn't tell what the central region looked like before. But now it was a flat land, and they couldn't see the end of it. The black ground was barren, and there was still the aura of that battle. The space here is much more stable, Chongming said after sensing the situation here. Maybe it's more stable closer to the center, Sima Yue said. Just like the earthquakes in the past, the center of the earthquake was better than the outside. But this feels a little eerie. The temperature has dropped a lot. It should be because the death aura is too strong. Chongming said, there aren't any souls here. Sima Yue nodded. She wasn't surprised. I guessed it when I saw Blood Devil. She touched Blood Devil in her arms. To raise it, it definitely needs a lot of dark aura. The possibility of those souls surviving is not high. This is indeed a little unexpected, Chongming said. I didn't expect that after so long, there would be nothing here. Although Sima Yue had already guessed it, she still felt a little disappointed when she saw the result. Let's see if there's anything that we can pick up. If they just went back like this, she would have wasted her trip. However, the result was not satisfactory. She walked around, and although she did find many treasures, there was nothing that could be used. Those spiritual weapons had all lost their spiritual energy in the long river of time. Chongming had used up a lot of energy, so she asked him to go back and rest. Now it was just her and the little black dog searching the ruins. Woof woof. The little black dog ran around by itself. Suddenly, it whimpered, as if it was calling Sima Yue over. Sima Yue walked over, and saw Little Black using its two paws to dig on the ground. It really looked no different from a dog. When Sima Yue saw how it was acting, a few black lines appeared on her forehead. This fellow was just short of learning to bark like a dog. Did you see anything good? She squatted down and looked at the place where it was digging. Woof woof. Little Black dug a few times, and a few heart-shaped spirit stones were dug out. What's this? Sima Yue picked up the spirit stones and looked at them under the sunlight. Each of them was crystal clear, and there seemed to be water droplets inside. Woof woof. Little Black's two front paws lay on Sima Yue's body, and then it opened its bloody mouth and bit down. Hiss. Sima Yue felt a pain in her arm. Just as she was about to pull it up to ask why, the scene around her suddenly changed, and she was shocked. The originally charred ground still had some green spots, but there were burning flames everywhere. There were corpses piled up around her, and some of them were set ablaze, crackling as they burned. Ah, kill! The deafening sound woke her up from her shock. She looked up and realized that she was in the middle of a battlefield, and there were many people fighting around her. There were humans, ghosts, devils, and every other race. There were all kinds of spirit beasts, underworld beasts, and devil beasts. The ghosts were fighting with the devils, and the devils were fighting with the humans. You kill me, I kill her. The whole scene was chaotic. Sima Yue stood on the spot. When she saw someone rushing towards her, she instinctively wanted to dodge, but the other party was too fast. She had just condensed her spirit energy when the person passed through her body. It didn't hurt. She was stunned on the spot. A few more people passed through her body, but she didn't feel it at all. She tried to release a stream of spirit energy towards a devil beast not far away. The spirit energy also passed through its body and disappeared, and that devil beast was still fighting with another underworld beast. Chapter 1204. Ah! Diwu's hand was grabbed by Sima Yue, and he flew towards her uncontrollably. As he didn't have any defense, he screamed in fright. Reading a book at 8 o'clock. Oh, plus release your ghost chi, Sima Yue ordered. Diwu didn't know what she wanted to do, but he still listened to her and released his ghost chi. Then he felt a gentle aura surrounding him. Seeing that they were about to reach the city wall, he was so scared that he closed his eyes. However, the danger that he imagined did not come. He only felt that they had passed through a thin film. When he opened his eyes again, They were already standing on the city wall. This. He looked at the city wall in shock and then at Sima Yue. How did they get in? What is this? Sima Yue released him and removed the fusion with little roar, keeping him back into the spirit pagoda. How did we get here? Diwu was still immersed in the impossible. No one could enter just now. But in the blink of an eye, they were all here. It was too miraculous. You wouldn't know even if I told you. You don't have to worry about it. Sima Yue said. Let's go down and take a look. As she spoke, she walked around Diwu and walked towards the stairs behind him. Did you call them out? Diwu reacted and chased after him to ask. There's no rush. They are all light attribute soul masters while the people here are all dark attribute and ghost clan members. They won't be of much help even if they come out now. Let's call them after we find out more about Father, Sima Yue said. Then they will go crazy in the little realm. Diwu sighed. But why did you leave me behind? You're from the ghost clan. Sometimes, it's more convenient for you to gather information, Sima Yue said. You even planned this? Diwu pouted. Actually, it wasn't because of me that you were able to come in. Instead, I was brought in by you. Sima Yue smiled. You're not slow. So you didn't want them to come out from the start, Diwu said with certainty. You're right. But there are no prizes, Sima Yue said. Then how did you know you could come in? Because I'm smart. His narcissism was back. It's because of that spirit beast of yours. Diwu continued. Because you guys fused together, that's why you guys could enter. Sima Yue saw that he was relentless in his pursuit, so she stopped and turned around to look at him. She explained, when you went to test it out, I could already tell that this defensive array was made up of spirit barriers. As long as it's a barrier, it won't be difficult for me. Oh, that spirit beast can ignore all barriers, right? Diwu looked like he was enlightened. He suddenly thought of something and said, Don't tell me this is the ancient divine beast's divine roar. I got it right again. Sima Yue continued to walk down the stairs. She thought to herself that although Diwu looked unreliable sometimes, he was actually quite smart. But then again, if he wasn't smart, why would his cousin send him to look for her? They came to the bottom of the city wall and saw empty streets. There were no ghosts or humans. Why isn't there a single soul here? It should be because the place we came in is a no man's land, Sima Yue guessed. If not, why wouldn't there be anyone who came to watch the show when they created such a huge commotion? We know too little about this place. Let's find someone to ask about the situation first, Diwu said. All right. They walked as they observed the situation, but they didn't find anyone after walking for a long time. Diwu, since you've heard about the situation in the ghost city, then tell me, what have you heard? Actually, it's nothing much. They're all talking about how ferocious and aggressive the people here are. Diwu continued, but if some people don't have a foothold in the ghost realm and happen to know the location of this place, they would choose to come here. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. If they treated this place as a refuge, wouldn't it be the same as Bloodfiend City? Such a deserted city, there's no sound at all. If it was me, I wouldn't come here. Diwu pouted and said. Suddenly he twitched his nose and sniffed hard, saying, There's the smell of people here. Sima Yue stopped and looked at him sniffing left and right. He really looked like a dog. What did you find? She saw him sniffing so seriously. She held back her laughter and asked, I only smell a few people and Ghost Clan smell. There's also the smell of blood. Diwu continued. If I didn't guess wrongly, someone is fighting. Finally someone. Let's go over and take a look. Which direction? They happened to be at a crossroad. Diwu pointed to the direction on their right, and the two of them ran over quickly. I'll beat you to death, you little bitch. Impressive. You dare to hide when you see me. Beat me up. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Before they even got close, they heard sharp insults and the sound of punches and kicks, as well as some muffled sounds. Get up. Weren't you very arrogant before? Didn't you say you wanted to do something to me? Come, I'll wait for you here. What a useless piece of trash. A useless piece of trash like you can only be stepped on by me forever. Ha ha ha. Young master, let's go back first. This is a restricted area. If people know we're here, we'll be punished by the city lord. A voice persuaded. What are you afraid of? Even if the sky falls, father and the rest will hold it up. So what if he's the city lord? My father is in charge now. Even if we're really caught, we'll be fine. Zhangshua, your father is just a lackey under the city lord's feet. Other than using your father to do bad things, what else can you do? If you're really found out trespassing here, let's see if your father can really protect you. Since I don't want my life anymore, it's good that I can drag you down with me before I die. Haha. How dare you threaten me? Beat him up hard. If I don't beat him to death today, my surname isn't Zhang. Yes, young master. Young master, he's still that person's child. What if he's really killed and suddenly comes back? What are you afraid of? Zhang Shua shouted. His father has been missing for who knows how many years. He's definitely dead. Kill him. Sima Yue and the rest turned around the corner and saw a group of people surrounding a young man in the middle of the street. They didn't use any spiritual energy, but just used their hands and feet like normal people. That young man was lying on the ground with his hands covering his head, hoping to avoid getting hurt. When Sima Yue looked over, her eyes met with his stubborn eyes. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.